Hello, welcome to a brand new episode of Lisa's Lair. And today is a very, very special day because not only is it on my channel, today is also the last day. We have Alejandro here, Retro, who is our wonderful producer, and everyone should give him
What a
love
weirdo.
and spam as many annoying sound bits that he has to suffer through for the next 2 hours because we got to give you a big goodbye. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for being a wonderful producer for the last year and a half for all these shows. And now I get to take the crown and do whatever I want with it. And I'm very excited for that. But hello, everyone. This is going to be really interesting because I'm also streaming from the office right now. And when I'm done, everyone's going to be gone. So I'm pretty sure this is going to be a haunted stream. But it's okay because I have some warm Allegiance Based Us IPA to get through for the next couple hours. Shout out to our wonderful sponsor for providing the awesome beer. I am very excited about today's episode, and not just because I get to hang out on my channel where there's no rules. We have a wonderful guest that everyone is obsessed with, including myself, and I've been wanting to hang out with her for so long. I've been a guest on her podcast a couple times, and now we all get to harass her for the next couple hours. So let's give it up to our wonderful guest today, the amazing, legendary Brittney Brombacher.
Wow, what an intro. I am feeling all hyped. Hot damn.
So I just want to say before I give you the actual introduction, I cannot hear the sound alerts, but I can see them in the chat. And I just got to say, Retro, you are leaving us on a big bang. It's honestly, I know you haven't played Metal Gear Solid yet, but on the second game, you have like these codecs where you like talk and like find out tutorials and hints and stuff. And you can like spam the R and the L buttons and they'll say like these little sound bits that are so funny and they're really mean. And I have in my chat. And if anyone watches my stream and they think, wow, everyone's kind of a dick to her, it's just a guy being like, whatever. And so now they get to spam that to you. I really want to add some Leon ones in there, but I had to come to the office, and I'm sad that I didn't. I'll have to do that next time.
Oh, there's so many good Leon ones. You
Anyway,
have to do it.
I know. I just got to that part, a couple parts actually, in Resident Evil 4 where he's like, well, he makes that comment about that kid's hand. The Lord Farquaad guy.
Lord Farquaad! It's like your right hand comes off or whatever.
Yeah, I was just like, well, it's so funny because everyone told me, that's what I keep calling. No thanks, bro. That's what everyone kept telling me that Devil May Cry was supposed to be like Resident Evil 4. I think we talked about that. And now that I'm in the castle and I can see like the style and like the aesthetic, I'm like, okay, this seems really DMC. But then also Leon saying like the dorkiest shit, I'm like, this is also very DMC.
Oh my god, it's so good. No, I love Resident Evil 4 for many reasons, but the fact that they just took Leon and all the serious shit he had been through throughout the Resident Evil franchise up until that point, and they're like, okay, you are the comedic relief in Resident Evil 4, and it's like, all right, and there he is, and he says the most random shit. I'm like, he's so funny.
I just love how he's like, dude. It's a survival horror game, but like, why not add some zingers in there? And I also like there's been a couple the game is funny to me. Like, also shout out to our new followers that just joined. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's also really funny to me because it is a survival horror game, but he still has to like be his like dorky self. And there's that part in the castle where Ashley gets taken away and Leon, it's like, this woman can die and like your life is online. He's just like, oh no, I'm gonna come after you when I can. Like, don't worry, I'll be there soon. I'm like, she's gonna die, and so are you. Like, I love it. I love games that just are serious, but they know they're not too serious. And it's like, I'm sad that not all the Resident Evils are like this, but definitely makes me want to play the other ones. So,
ooh, I know we've talked about for a long time, because those you don't know, friends, we don't live that far apart from one another. It's an absolute shame that we actually haven't hung out. I know. And once we get that ball rolling, it's game over for all parties involved. Yeah, I'd be really curious to know what you think about the other Resident Evil games. And I would be honored to be the one that gets to sit alongside you and play some of them with you.
I would be honored. You're like the Resident Evil like person.
Oh,
I would be
man.
honored to have you sit alongside me and watch me scream like a little bitch because that's every single stream. I even had to learn because every time like a zombie would find me, I would just yell, "I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I didn't mean to." But since everyone speaks Spanish, I had to learn "I'm just kidding" in Spanish. So I'm like, "Estoy bromeando" or whatever. I forgot what it was. Every game fucking scares me. Even Earthbound scared me. There's the part in Mother 3. You played Mother 3, obviously. Everyone, I haven't even introduced. You know what? Fuck it. We got 2 hours. We'll talk about it. But Brittney loves Earthbound Mother games, and the part in Mother 3 where you have to like go into the facility and there's that pink dinosaur that comes and chases after you, that shit scared me. I would like walk in the room and audibly scream, and everyone's like, it was not scary. I'm like, it was scary to me.
So interestingly enough, so I've played Earthbound Mother 2 more times than I can count. I'm actually wearing Nest on my boobs right now, so you can see my boy.
That.
Oh yeah, there's my
Nest
boy.
titties.
Nest 2Ds on. Oh my god, dude, this is why you're a fucking professional. You have the funniest little quips. I have played only a little bit of Mother 3. I finished it, so I played it on an emulator back in the day. And I was playing it on my computer, and I just like don't like PC gaming. And I told myself, I'm like, the next time I play this game, it's gonna be on one of Nintendo's virtual shops. And lo and behold, that has not happened. So I have not gone back and finished it. So I need to. But going back to what scares you about whatever, and Earthbound 3, where you have the zombies, that was one of the first moments in video games beside Resident Evil 2 that scared the shit out of me. There's a zombie dog in that town, and you can see its ribs. And it's all pixelated glory.
Terrifying.
Yeah, it scared me. It scared me because I was playing it I was watching my grandma play it because my aunt introduced me to Earthbound. My grandma was playing it at the time. And I remember being at her house and being so fucking scared. And I was like, why are its ribs showing? What does it mean? I thought it was dead. And it fucked with me for the longest time. Yeah.
I mean, like the last boss in Earthbound made my stream break.
Gigas?
Gigas. I don't know his name. That shit scared the shit out of me. I'm like, what is this white noise I'm listening to? What child is playing this? But then again, like I grew up on Majora's Mask. I'm like, this game's fine. And then you play it when you're older. I'm like, this game is traumatizing as shit. Yeah, my only other Resident Evil, I guess, experience was when my stream made me play 2 Remake last year and told me it wasn't that scary. And I was like, this is the scariest fucking game I've ever played in my life. What are you talking about?
It's so funny. See, I don't think Resident Evil is really scary either. And that could be because I've been playing the game since I was like 8, which, by the way, I would not recommend. Do not let your 8-year-old children play these games unless they're just wild. But yeah, like I think for me, what gets me in Resident Evil games is the atmospheric horror, right? It's the creaking of the soundboard, something banging against the window, the creepy music in the background. But I never really find those games scary.
Leon's bad puns, like it's all scary.
Yeah, Leon's bad puns saves the day.
His hair part is terrifying to me. I'm like, how does it stay so straight? Like it just bugs me so much. I say like, yeah, you shouldn't let 8-year-olds play. I mean, like we're around the same age. Like I grew up on like rotten.com and like
hell
World.
yeah.
I am desensitized to everything now. Except for zombie survival games. Like when I was on your podcast and you're talking about Callisto Protocol, I was like, that's great. I'm happy for you. Never gonna
like,
play
no, thanks.
Never gonna play this again, ever.
Oh yeah. See, like Callisto Protocol is freaky as shit because that is like you are a walking defenseless flesh bag. At least in Resident Evil, we
all are walking defenseless flesh bags.
We are, but at least we don't have weird alien things trying to kill us, or maybe we do. Who could say? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. But all I'm saying is, yes, like as someone who also grew up, in the 90s and Rotten. Oh my God, Rotten.com. Wow, I forgot. I remember one time I went on Rotten.com. And I thought I was being sneaky. I was like maybe like 7. I don't even know how old it was. And then my grandma the next day was like, so you're not allowed to use the computer when no one's home anymore. Because I was over there during the summer. I was like, crap, I got busted. It was the picture of the bird on like, what was it? It was a viral picture back then, what the viral was. I don't know what it was, but it was like someone's dick. And I was like, I don't know what I'm looking at. But
we saw a lot of wieners before we knew what a wiener was. It was the worst thing. It's a great way to start in the stream. Also, Tay, thank you so much for resubbing. 11 months. Oh my God.
Ooh.
Taylor is my director who is listening to us talk about penis pictures that we found on the internet in junior high.
Cheers.
So shout out to dick pics. I am just happy growing up in the early 2000s that they didn't have what is it, like the ads that we get now, because anytime I buy something I have like an ad that's like specific for me. Imagine if you got that shit from the things you looked at the internet when you were 12.
Oh my God.
I would be on lists, honestly. I was like, it's like that scene in Knocked Up where she's like, I Googled murder. Like, it's just like, because we're children. We're just like, fuck it. What's the most darkest shit I can look up? Like, who invented the internet? You are doing a bad thing. Like,
I'm just so happy there's not a lot of evidence of those days. You know, like, thank God social media didn't exist back then, because, oh man.
I mean, we had LiveJournal, Open Diary, and MySpace. And
Journal, yeah.
I had Open Diary and LiveJournal, and my LiveJournal I deleted, which I was really upset about because I wish I kept that cringe. I found my old Open Diary like 5 years ago, and my entire account was AFI lyrics and like like this is I had the most fucked up things on there, just like a bunch of like goth girls and being like, you laugh at me because I'm different, I laugh at you because you're all the same. And it was just like,
like that has a profound meaning. Like you had the world experience to me. Oh my, I love that shit. Or like the aim away messages. Oh my God.
I was 13 with no job and I was like, life is hard.
High school's hard. Yeah, it was like, oh man. Yeah, we didn't know.
And now I'm haunted forever because of that peak Lisa picture that goes viral on Reddit every 6 months.
I had never seen that until you posted it the other day. I mean, it is pretty nostalgic. I do see.
Every 6 months, someone posts it on Reddit, doesn't tag me in it. It gets thousands of uploads. I get zero fame out of it.
Isn't that the worst?
Like stealing my art, but it's me. I am the art. And then like prove that it's you. I'm like, how? Am I gonna just take out a blind skateboard t-shirt that came out 25 years ago?
Extract your DNA from this like physical photo. I know how you feel because there's a photo of me taken when the PlayStation 4 came. No, PlayStation
I've seen
3.
It.
Is it?
With
No, not 3. 4.
Your blonde and black hair.
Oh yeah. And someone took the photo and like memed it, and then it just goes again every year. It goes like viral. And then, of course, I'm nowhere on that. So it just goes through. And it's called something like me, and it's in Spanish. And I think the rough translation is something like, meanwhile, the girlfriend you'll never have. Because I'm holding the PlayStation 4 in one hand.
It's a Resident Evil zombie writing the caption is what it is. Just a Spanish zombie.
Exactly. And I'm holding like a PS4 in one hand and a bottle of Jack Daniels in the other hand. And then it's just one of those things. And then when the PlayStation 5 came out, I recreated it. But I was holding a bottle Maker's Mark because I upgraded. But then someone came out with a fake story that I had bought every console for my like boyfriend or husband since they released. Because I also have a picture of me holding a PlayStation 3. So I have a photo of me holding a PS3, a PS4, a PS5, and then when they were all put together, someone's like, "Oh, I should buy her man a console every generation." I was like, "No, those are mine. The only man I've ever bought a console for was my dad. And I bought him a Switch, okay?"
Also, that's so crazy. Like, God forbid women have personalities that are in gaming. Like, there's no way this girl was playing PS3. And it's like, I grew up on a Nintendo. Like, that, like, what are you talking about? I don't get the argument with that. Like, I don't think it's as bad, at least for me now, because I feel like most of my chat, my community is like, you know, like it's very rare I have trolls now, but also not a lot of those people who have those toxic like comments are watching people play Resident Evil 4 and MGS3. They're going on like Valorant and Apex and like Fortnite and shit. But like I remember in high school, I was obsessed with Zelda. And we talked about this on your podcast. I was a big Nintendo person. Like I remember my dad playing Nintendo as a little kid. And I grew up all through high school with Nintendo. And then all my guy friends started getting an Xbox. They all started playing Halo. And I would play Halo 2 with them. And I was terrible at it. And they would be like, "Oh, that's because you're not a real gamer." I was like, "No, I just don't like these games." And I would get teased for years about being a fake gamer. Like that was like, I love when I see shit on the internet, like people bullied me in high school for liking anime and video games. Like, no, you fuckers were the bullies. Shut up. Like you guys were the one bullying me for wearing a Zelda shirt. You'd be like, oh, you think you're so cool with your Zelda shirt? I'm like, actually, I don't, but I love this shirt. I do not think I'm cool because you guys constantly harass me about it. Like,
How shitty. Oh, man, that's the worst. I never really had that problem, thankfully, because I grew up with all the women in my family mostly played video games. So like I said, my grandma plays games, my aunt plays games. They're the ones who introduced me to Zelda, to Earthbound, to Final Fantasy. And so it wasn't until I actually got into the gaming industry that I learned that there's this big, like, oh my God, you play video games? And thankfully, like you said, that's starting to dwindle down. I think it's because you have a lot of women who are like, yo, I play games and I do stuff in the industry and it's rad. And then it's being normalized. And I hate even saying that, but it's gotten a lot better from what it used to be. So yay. But also, let people love what they love, you jackasses.
Hey, you know what? I thought so too, and then I started dating, and then I'll like tell a guy or someone like on like Hinge or Bumble, I'd be like, oh yeah, I love video games. Like, oh yeah, do you play like, and like I said, they'll list off like Valorant, Apex, whatever. I'd be like,
Really?
oh no, I play more like PlayStation 5 and Nintendo. And someone replied, oh, so you're a casual gamer? I'm like, do you know what
No.
Wait, do you know what casual gaming means? Like, do you think anyone who doesn't play competitively is casual? And I was just like, oh my God, I'm matching you so quickly.
Gross. Ew,
I know.
gross.
So
What the-
like, and these are like dudes like 35 plus. I'm like, are you still 18? Like, what is wrong with you? Like, I don't get it. I'm glad but I also like when I was looking you up online because I was like, I love Brittney. I must internet stalk her. Like, you've been, I guess, in the gaming industry for a while, like way
Beer got
before
warm.
Twitch and stuff. Yeah, beer's been warm for me.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, good.
Shout out to EG. It's so funny. We have Elysian beer here, like in our office, which is great. And the only beer that wasn't cold was the space stuff. So I was like, God damn it. They're like, everyone keeps drinking it. I was like, okay, fine. I'll just take it. It's fine. It's cool.
It's good. It's getting to that warm point where it's a little potent.
I'm talking too much. That's why.
That's okay.
That's what happens. That means you're doing good. If you haven't drank a full beer by now, that means you're having a good time.
Hell yeah.
No, but I wanted to say, because like you started off as like a blogger, right?
So back in the day, gather around, children. I'll keep this short and sort of interesting. I'll try to.
You got an hour and 20 minutes, 40 minutes. You're good. You can just go on forever.
Let's just talk about my life. Oh, please, no. Yeah, so when I graduated high school, I got a job with the Department of Corrections in the administrative unit. So I wasn't like at an actual prison or anything, but I was dealing with some really heavy material, and I was like, nah, this was like a bummer deal. And I was commuting 4 hours a day, like, do not recommend 4 days a week. It was awful. So I worked
where were you commuting?
So yeah, you would know this. I lived
Not to dox your 15-year-old self. But
the past, So I was working in Tumwater, but living in the U District. And so I had that. Girl, I was dumb. I was like 18, and I was like, I'm going to get because my ex went to University of Washington. So I was like, I'm going to get the college experience while working a full-time job. And it's going to be so much fun.
In the middle of nowhere.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I was doing that for a while. And then one time I came home from work, and it was late. But then G4 was doing their E3 2009 coverage. And I was like, this is so cool. So I went on IGN, and they had a community blog back in the day. So for a couple years, I just blogged on IGN's community blog, and I instantly fell in love with it. And I was like, I should start my own website because I wanted to try to get credentials. At the time, my whole goal was like, I'm going to get into E3. I just want to get into E3, and then I'll have made it. That's what I thought. And so lo and behold, I started a podcast with some friends in 2009. By 2010, I did get into E3. And then around 2011, I said, I need my own website. I need my own brand. And then that's when I started my website, BlondeNerd.com. Did that from like 2011, 2017.
Which now sounds like spam.
I know. Sounds like it's like we were talking about like a porn bot. Like, I'm BlondeNerd. Hello, I'm BlondeNerd ASL. Like,
not to interrupt you, but I don't know if you know this. There is a sort of a bot problem on Twitter where they take like girls, like OnlyFans girls, whatever, and they like spam nerdy words in their titles to like get that, like, I guess,
is
algorithm.
that what's going? I've seen those.
Like, do you like Pokemon or me? Can
I
be your Pokemon? It's just like the most weirdest captions.
Is
like,
that what's going on? I've never
understood
understood that. They're like, good morning, gamers. And I'm like, what's...
I am blonde nerd anime gaming Pokemon.
Maybe I need to start
Winky
doing
face.
that and up my interaction, and maybe Elon Musk's new Twitter can do something for me. Who could say?
But anyways,
Um,
blondenerd.com.
yeah. So I started that, and then in 2017, co-founded What's Good Games with Andrea, Christine, and Alexa. They too have split off, and now they're doing some kick-ass shit. And Andrea and I are still holding down the fort at What's Good. So like that's my career in a nutshell. I've done a lot of stuff, but it's been fun. I've never actually worked for anyone in the gaming industry in like a full-time capacity. It's always just been kind of freelance. So I quit my job with the Department of Corrections in like 2013, pulled out all of my retirement and my savings, and lived off of that while my then boyfriend, now husband, gave me a part time job in marketing. It's a whole thing, but I made it work. I'm still here. I'm still alive.
You are, and you know what? You did the smart way because everyone and their mom has a podcast now. So it's like
Yeah.
getting into podcasting before the pandemic. I mean, I guess 2009 is really when it like everyone first started hearing about him, but like now it's like everyone and their mom has a podcast.
Yeah.
You kind of like it's so funny too for like comedians because I'm like it's like how can you just do stand up? Like don't you have to do something like you have to keep something the creative juices flowing. So it's always like podcasts, but it's always like the same thing. I always tell people like you should have a niche. Like yes, you want to be a bunch of dudes sitting in a room shooting the shit and talk about sex. That's every person who has a podcast. Talk about video games, talk about chess, talk about Gundams. I don't know. You know,
Yeah, no,
find something.
podcasting's great. It's fun. You get to meet a lot of really cool people. Like that's, I met you on Twitter when you were streaming Yakuza back in the day. God, Lily.
Yakuza, I still am ish. I'm just stuck in. Have you played Like a Dragon yet?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm stuck where I seriously got difficult randomly. I was like, oh, everyone's at level 50 and killing me now. So I can't stream it until I've grinded a little because I'm just dying in every fight.
Oh, yeah.
A Yakuza?
Yakuza. I know. I always call it Yakuza, and everyone's like Yakuza. I'm like Yakuza.
I'm like, I'm not Japanese. It's Yakuza. Okay.
Yakuza. Yeah, and then I was like, you should come on What's Good, and then you did, and then we've done 2 shows together, and now we're gonna be future best friends. It's confirmed. We just got to meet up in person, and then it's game over. Like I said.
Yeah, Kusi. I know. I actually really want to see your collection because it looks amazing. It's also
no.
mine is a mess. Like I don't get how yours is so clean because you have like a full ass family. Like I just have 2 cats.
Girl, no, remember, I told you my secret. Everything around me is literally chaos right now. Just everything behind me looks fine. I guarantee I can barely see my desk. I can barely see my floor. I gave up on trying to be a clean human a long time ago.
Yeah, mine's just like I'm really clean, but there's cat hair everywhere.
Oh,
like, I'll cook rice in a rice pot and somehow there's cat hair in it. I don't know how. Like
it's just a part of you now. It's just what happens.
Those are my children. But see, now you are gonna be like your family. Like you're gonna be the cool aunt and the cool mom that plays all the video games.
I mean, I'm gonna try to be cool, Yeah, no, my husband, he actually has he created and sold a business. And now he's starting another business that actually makes a lot of good money. And I'm like, cool. Like, what's it like to work in an industry that actually makes money? I don't know. I could say, because it's not easy. Everyone sees what we do in video games and they're like, oh, that looks so fun. And it is fun. But my God, trying to find a gig that can pay the bills is it's so much work.
Oh
it's
my
hard.
God. I have so many comedians be like, hey, I want to start streaming. Like, how do I make money on Twitch? I'm like, let me know when you find out.
You know,
because I just have an addiction and a great people who are willing to watch that and not make me go to therapy. Like that is what streaming is to me. Every once in a while someone will give me money and I'm like, why? Oh, so you want to see every part even without the ads. Oh geez, okay.
Oh man, but so I joke all the time. My son's a 1.5 years, so obviously he doesn't know what the fuck I'm saying. But I'm always like, see, mommy has a cool job. She gets to play video games, and then there's my husband like toiling away, like working hard, like making investments and business calls. And I'm over here playing God of War. I'm like, da, 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 da. It's hard.
Wait, is he a gamer too though?
He is, yeah. So he doesn't like follow the industry like I do, but he's definitely like into. So Zelda is like another one of his big things. He loves Pokemon. Pokemon Unite is his latest crack addiction.
Isn't that the Pokemon League game basically?
Yeah, League in the lightest terms. Yeah, because it's such a MOBA light. But he's made so many friends doing it. Now they're all Discord buddies. It's the cutest thing. So we have 2 treadmills in one of the rooms in our house, and we have TVs in front of them. And so every night after we put the kid to bed, we walk for probably an hour and a half, and we play something on the TV. It's like one of the only times I can get gaming time in anymore. So I'm currently playing Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and then he plays Pokemon Unite for like an hour and a half every single night with his little friends. And I say little friends like he's my child. Look at my husband's little friends.
Look at him and his little 30-year-old friends. There you go.
Yeah. And so he, but there's some games that I've tried to get him to play, and he's like, oh, it's not that interesting. Like, he loves God of War, he loves Horizon, but there's just other games that I'll play that I'm like, this is a really great masterpiece. You should play it. And he'll start playing, and he's like, meh, it's boring. I'm like, what is wrong with you? How did I marry you? What is your.
But that's a good balance, because I feel
I
like
guess, yeah.
like me, it's like you always want to, I guess, for at least partner, like my friends too. So like my best friend who lives in Washington, I got her hooked on one video game and it's ruined her life. She never played a video game in her life. And I made a joke. She came over, she's like, I want to play this Stray game because I'm obsessed with cats. And so I downloaded it, and she's like sitting there, she's playing it for 5 hours in my living room. I was like, girl, take a break. And she was like, I can't stop it, Lisa. I can't stop looking at the screen. Every time I look at the screen, I just want to pet him. He's just so adorable. And I'm like, Sam, this is how I feel when I play Yakuza games. I just can't stop staring at him. I'm like, who is this adorable?
I just want to pet him.
I'm like playing Akiyama and Bakamitai. I'm like, I just want to adopt him. I want to adopt this cigarette, stinky, sweaty, homeless man into my household and give him a bath. And then her friend got a PS5 and sold her PS4 so she could play Stray. And then she got bored of it. And she was like, well, now I want to try a new video game. I said, well, what do you want? She's like, I want something cute that isn't going to be like fighting. She's not like fighting. And I was like, okay. I said Stardew Valley, and she was like, what's that? I was like, a really hot guy from Auburn made it. And she goes, I'll play it. Like, that was me selling it. Anyway, she's on her 5th year, and she started in like July.
Oh yeah, you were telling me about. Is this the friend who didn't know about a pause button or a save? Okay, this is it.
She didn't know you can pause, and I was like, I forgot, like you can't just show someone a video game who's never played a video game before. Like, I was like, there's things to this. And now I go over there and I help her clean up her farm. Like, I'm like,
let me help you.
She was just like, how do you make furniture? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what have you been doing for 5 years in this game? I think after 2 years, I did everything. She's like, I've just been selling pickles and mayonnaise for like 5 years, Lisa. I have so much money, but I don't know what to do with it. And I'm just like, oh my God, I've ruined this woman's life.
Oh God, yeah. Like, when it comes to Sims, there comes a point where you're done. You've done everything you can do. Everyone wants to bang you. Everyone wants to marry you. You've given everyone enough turnips so they love you.
You've cheated on all your spouses with the other villagers.
Yep, that's it. And then you're done. But this poor girl's been selling pickles and mayonnaise. Yeah, but no, it's interesting you say that, because my husband just recently introduced his mom to video games for the very first time. And I think we were talking about this during one of the breaks on the last show that you and I did together. But it's that interesting thing of, unless you've been playing games for a while, there's like a whole new language you need to learn. She would walk up to someone and there'd be a space of like yay big between them, and she'd say, well, why aren't they talking to me? And my husband Jason, we have to. Well, you have to get closer. You have to touch their face. Yeah, you have to Could you imagine if that's how the real world worked?
You have to peck them on the cheek and the nose. You got to rub their noses.
Yeah, it's the interesting stuff like that you don't really think of. So kudos to your friend for getting into Stardew Valley, because I feel like that has a lot of moving pieces to it.
I mean, she's made way more money than I have, because I actually build my farm. She just has like a bunch of pickles and mayonnaise machines everywhere, and I'm like, I don't know how you're surviving. My mom's the same way though. My mom has only played Pac-Man, and she's incredible at it. She used to sit down and beat every 99, 100 levels on the original Pac-Man and play She's the best at Pac-Man. You give her any other game, she goes, are there any ghosts or balls? What else do I? Why
ghosts and balls, all a woman needs.
That's all I want is ghosts and balls. Like, is there fruit? Is there any fruit? Like, she's just like so upset. My dad loved Zelda until it went 3D, and he was like, "Oh, this hurts my vision." And I'm like, "No, it's not that bad." And then me trying to play N64 in my 30s, I'm like, "Yeah, I can see why. Like, this is so hard to play after playing like every." They're also not made for the TVs we have now, but I was like, I'm way more of a 2D Zelda person than the N64 and PS1 graphics did not age great.
No, they sure as hell didn't, and I think that was a hard reality I also had to come to grips with. Ocarina of Time is one of my favorite games ever, and I know some Ocarina, whatever, Ocarina, Oak,
Ocarina.
Ocarina, and Yakuza are the keys to my heart. Okay,
Yakuza.
Yakuza and Ocarina. Yeah, not pretty at all. Like so many triangles. Zelda's tits are so pointy. Like
Yeah.
those fairies, those great fairies. I'm like, my God, that could poke out an eye.
I cannot believe I thought Link was so hot as
Me
an adult.
too!
When I was a kid, I was like, he looks terrifying.
Oh my God, I thought he was so hot. You know what it was though? Like I thought he looked like Nick Carter. And that's all it took for me. The blonde bowl cut with the blue eyes. And then
2D,
when
2D Nick Carter right there.
2D Nick Carter in a green tunic. I mean, what more does any 8-year-old need in her life? Like, I don't know. I guess I was 10 actually. Hormones were flowing.
Also, I don't know if you remember the Prima official character, like the guide for Ocarina of Time.
It was the best.
I still have the page because they had Link pointing the arrow with the earring, and I was like,
that blue little earring.
I was like, I like bad boys. I only want criminals for the rest of my life. I'm like 7 years old. And I'm like, I never want to date a man without an earring ever.
But as a prerequisite on your dating profile, must have a little blue hoop earring. It is both ears.
I was like, I need you to have a bunch of earrings. I need you to have earrings. I need you to have aged 7 years in 1 hour, and I also need you to be an elf boy and to wear a tunic.
I tell you, nothing got my hormones flowing more from when you pull that Master Sword out, and the first time you hear Link roll, and his voice has gone like two times deeper, and I'm like, oh
now
my
he's
goodness,
like, hiya,
hiya. And I'm like, what is this feeling? What is going on? Oh my goodness.
And then I was just like, oh, he's such a man. I'm like, he's 17, Lisa. He's still like, I think his actual height was like 5'5". I'm like, I don't care. He's a man in my eyes.
I know. I remember being like, is this kind of creepy? But I was only like 10 at the time. And I'm like, oh no, he was 11 or 10. It's fine.
I think we're ahead of our time because my other crush was Brock from Pokemon. I'm like, that kid can cook. He can clean. He knows how to treat a woman. Are you kidding me? Ash is over here like, I don't know if Misty likes me. I got my Pikachu. And Brock is like, I'll rub your feet every night before you go to sleep. I'll make you crock-pot soup and I'll clean your house. I'm like, oh, what a man.
What a man.
He's like 15. And he's got all the Pokemon I don't like, and then he has a Vulpix. I'm like, oh, but he has a Vulpix. See, he has a tender side too.
Brock always freaked me out. Like I wasn't into Brock.
Ash is a world champion finally after.
Oh yeah, finally. We're all about to go to a retirement home, but hey, Ash finally made it to world champion.
With a Pikachu that is in retirement. Pikachu probably has like every disease an old animal has at this point. He's on level 300. Of course, he better win a fucking tournament. He's had that Pikachu. How is Ash not? Ash is how old is Ash now? Does anyone know? Is he still 10?
I don't think he's aged, and it's been what 20-something years at this 25 years. How long has it been? Like, I don't even know.
Like Pokemon is on a sitcom. Like it's like he's
10. Yeah.
He's still 10? How is he still 10? And like, how many tournaments do you have to go through as a 10-year-old? It just doesn't make any sense. It's a floating timeline. It's just an alternate universe at this point.
Oh my! I like also how Dark Knight in chat says maybe Nintendo will surprise the world with an Ocarina remake. Okra, one of my Okra. Dude, that has been my dream for as long as I can remember. And I know a bunch of people are gonna at me like, oh, it came out on 3DS. That doesn't count. I don't want to hear it. It does not count.
Also, the Majora's Mask 3DS version was not that good.
Oh, it was. I didn't play that.
I was not like it. I really hope they do, but then again, they did the Skyward Sword remake and did nothing to it. So I'm like, come on, Nintendo. Like, you have the resources to do it. I never will understand Nintendo's mind because it's like, you guys have the biggest franchise in the world. You have all the money, but you're still ran by like these old ass Japanese dudes that are just like, nah, we're just gonna hold back for some reason. I also don't know if you know this, but I have been doing a weird thing about predicting shit. So like when I was like, I'm gonna play Earthbound, I took out my Wii U and was about to download it, and then it got released on Switch. When I started playing Souls games, everyone's like, have you heard about Elden Ring? I was like, we haven't gotten any Elden Ring updates in years. And then the next day they released the Elden Ring trailer. And then now I'm playing through Metal Gear Solid, and they're like, there's rumors that they might release it on like the full thing on PS5 or maybe remaking it. I'm like, maybe I should just play Ocarina of Time, and then maybe an Ocarina of Time will come. There's a bunch of games that has happened to where everyone's like, Lisa has a
Okay.
weird. Skyward Sword, that was another one. Skyward Sword, I was like, I really love Skyward Sword, and then they announced the Skyward Sword remake. My chat can defend me on this.
So you need to stop everything you're doing and play Final Fantasy 9. Then
Here you go, Resident Evil 4. I'm playing through that, and then they announced the remake a few weeks ago.
Absolutely. Okay, but I need you to play Final Fantasy 9. I need you to do the Lord's work. Our Lord and Savior Square Enix is not going to come through for us, so I need you to do it.
Yakuza Ishin. I've been asking for it. I was like, I want to stream Ishin, but there's no localization English. Oh my god, we're getting the Ishin remake. I was like, I need money. I'm gonna stream myself making money, and then maybe more money will come in.
My mind is just running with all these possibilities of things I need you to play. I need you to play everything.
Yes,
remake
just
them.
Every single game. I'm just gonna take out my whole schedule, and then it's gonna be like Brittney, aka Majima's wife, has requested I play every single one of these games. I do want to play Chrono Trigger. That was the one that everyone kept telling me to play, and I know that I played a little bit of it growing up, but I also played a little bit of everything growing up because I'm like, I don't remember. My brain stopped working when I turned like 16. Okay, the minute alcohol and drugs got involved in my life, nothing ever mattered.
Yeah, Chrono Trigger, I played a little bit as a kid as well, and then I tried to replay it again maybe just a couple years ago. And then, chat, let me know if I'm wrong about this, but I believe every party member needs to be leveled separately, so there's no XP share. And I remember looking at that, I'm like, I don't got time for this. No one's got time for this anymore. And then I stopped, and I regret it, but I do want to play that as well because everyone talks about it. Also, I need you to play Breath of Fire 3. I don't know if you've ever played Breath of Fire before, but please.
I'm gonna just hold my hand up. These are the games I really want to play. Final Fantasy 9, just like a list of games you give me.
And I'm in the background pointing a gun at your head. I'm like, say these things.
You just see Brittney in the background with a knife behind me. I also, what's the name of the game I want to play? I also want to play this game. I promise
Skies of Arcadia.
I'm very excited to play Skies of Arcadia. There is a lot of games now. It's like, and I think I talked to you about this. I probably have talked to you about this on your podcast because you've asked me things like, when we're talking about all the games coming out, you said, like, did you ever play Uncharted games? And I was like, no. And before, I haven't done this with video games. I've done this with movies. Like, I lie to everyone and say that I've seen all the Star Wars. I'm like, I've seen everyone because I don't want people telling me to watch them and telling me they're good. Like, I just lie. I'm like, oh yeah, I've seen all of them.
Because I'm the same fucking way as you.
I lie all the time about movies. I was like, oh yeah, seen all the Harry Potters. Fuck Harry. No, I haven't seen any Harry. I've seen the first one, maybe. I think I might be lying. I don't think I've seen any Harry Potters. Like, I do this because I don't want to have the discourse conversations where it's like, but you haven't seen it. You have to dip like the MCU. I'm like, I've seen all of them. I promise. I know every MCU movie ever. I have seen like barely any of them, but I never do this with video games because video games, people will start testing your knowledge. I'm like, yeah, I played Final Fantasy 9. Like, oh yeah, who's your favorite character? I'm like,
Zelda.
Yeah, Cloud number 9, Cloud 9. That's where Cloud 9 got their name. Was from Final Fantasy 9. There you go.
Oh wait, no, I'm the same way, dude. When it comes to movies, unless it's a horror movie, I admittedly just don't have a lot of interest. I just don't. And so it's hard when everyone around you's talking and circle jerking over all these MCUs. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm sorry. But when it comes to video games,
these MCUs, there's so many universes in the
I don't even know. I can't keep track, and I wish I cared more. I really do, because obviously video games and all that shit go hand in hand, and everyone talks about it. But I can't get into it. I don't care. I'd rather be playing a video game, and that's what I do.
And I think that's fine. I don't think people realize how many nerdy things there are now. Like, this isn't the early 2000s where it's like you either had like Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. You know, you had the 4, but there was like 30 games on each, you know? And now there's like thousands of games. There's thousands of nerdy content. There's so many streaming services. And it's like, I can't keep track of everything. Like I don't know how much. You're not a big anime person, right?
I mean, I've seen my fair share. I want to see more, which is actually why I want to use and abuse you, because I need to be introduced to the good shit. Because I try to go on Crunchyroll, and I am overwhelmed. I'm like, I don't even know where to start.
I know you're not a weeb because you have a family and it seems very loving. Like us weebs are alone forever. We have 2 cats and they're both named after anime characters. But more anime has come out in the last 10 years than the entire run of anime. I'm like, so when people are like, oh, well, have you seen this? Have you seen this? I'm like, I have 24 hours in a day. Okay. And I still have a job and I still do other things. No, I have not seen every fucking anime on the earth. And it's just like, it's exhausting. It is. I don't even know why I have dating apps because I'm like, I just started building Gunpla. That's my new thing. I'm watching 6
I saw
anime.
that.
Yeah, I love it. I'm obsessed with it. It makes my eyes not hurt because I'm not looking at a TV all day.
Yeah.
I do have to cut my nails, which is a thing I don't like. But I'm like watching 6 anime series. I'm playing 3 different games on stream and I'm playing a couple games off stream and I'm building Gunpla. I'm like, when the fuck am I gonna like hang out with someone?
You gotta find someone who wants to do that shit with you. That's it.
What it is I gotta skip all the beginning dating part to like, can we just get married and be comfortable with each other? Like,
and have that comfortable silence where you maybe see each other for a few hours a day and you're like, hey, what's up? Hey, okay, go to bed. That sort of thing. Yeah,
that's it. Like, it's like, I'm sorry, like, unless you want to come over and watch me build Gunpla, you can't touch it. You just have to watch me do it because I don't share. Then that's it. My favorite
you never learned how to share.
Is unicorn Gunpla. That's why I don't have roommates. I'm a terrible person to live with. I've decided like that is my biggest flaw is that I am selfish and stubborn with my you'll come over and be like, this is why you're too clean and you're like psycho.
Do I need to bring my own toilet paper and like food and water? Or are you willing to share that with me?
Oh yeah. You can wipe your butt. I have a bidet now too. Like I'm so proud of it. Like I'm like, I've always wanted one. Now I have one. Now it's like it's the best thing in the world. But like I cannot have roommates because I need things. I'm like a cat. I always say I'm a cat person. Like, you know, when a cat is walking on a counter and there's like a glass in its way and you'll just fucking like just whatever, fuck this glass. That's like me in my living situations. I'm like, why is there a cookie on this table? I'm gonna eat it. Like I'm like I'm like that person. So like for me, it's like if I'm gonna marry someone, they're just gonna have to just adapt to me because I do not compromise. Like
I gotta say, like I feel like you probably have dudes lining up, probably even some women too. Just gonna throw that out there, lining up at your door to hook up with you and get with you.
Other cats too. They're just like, I want to live with her, man. She cleans the litter box 30 times a day. You know,
maybe
like,
that's your destiny. It's just
I just gotta
get cats.
I just gotta get a bunch of cats so I can make them into one giant cat like Gundam, and then I just marry that. I'm just gonna marry my mecha cat husband. That's gonna be my life.
Mecha cat husband. Oh, no.
This is why I love having you on the show. Like we've already gone off the rails. So
were there any rails to begin with? I don't think so.
Actually, I should take that back. This has been every show. Like I've been excited to have all the guests on here, all the EG creators, all the other friends have been great. But I was like super, super excited to have Brian Altano on here because
he's great.
I've been a big fan of him forever, but he's like been around forever and he does so many other things. I had a whole list of interview questions, like, because I'm like, you do so much. Like he does so much and he's done so much. And all it did was turn to us talking about food for an hour and a half. And then talking about getting matching tattoos. And then I look over and I was like, I haven't said shit that was on this. It's fine.
That's how you know you're having a good time, though. You know?
But it's also the same thing where it's like I have been on a lot of podcasts, you know, and it's always been the same thing because like me, like I'm not a big creator, like or I guess shouldn't say a big comedian, big creator, because like this is not my I can't make a living doing stand-up. That's why I stream and do other things. But like every podcast I've done, it's always like, I just want to talk about your journey. And I'm like, it's the same fucking thing every time. Like, it's just like, cool, why did you get into streaming? Because I couldn't do stand-up during the pandemic and I was really depressed. You can
only tell that story in a few different ways, and then it's the same story.
Like, I don't want to have someone come up and be like, so, Brittney, how you like video games?
I like the video games. They're so cool. I hear you.
So what made you decide to take the handle BlondeNerd? Is it because you're a blonde nerd? Maybe?
Because my porn career went to shit. And so I was like, well, this sounds like it could be a video game career. So.
Also, BlondeNerd, I feel like that, like, how did you must have had the handle forever. I feel like that's not an easy thing to grab.
Oh man. No, actually, I faintly remember paying.
I had to murder the other blonde nerd to get her handle.
I did. No, I had to pay someone, God, back in like 2012 or 13. I think I paid someone like $40 for the handle on Twitter. I was like,
That
can
is
I have
not
it?
bad.
No, and I had to trust this human to transfer the account to me. And I don't remember how I did it, but that's how I did it.
And that
I paid
person is
someone.
so pissed. They're like, I should be blonde nerd.
I should be the
other
blonde nerd. I know. And
They're-
then me and my petty ass back in the day, like I don't do this shit anymore because I have no more fucks to give. But I'd be like, okay, who's pretending to be the blonde nerd on online? So I'd find people be like the blonde nerd or blonde_nerd. I'd be like, nay, you cannot use that. Oh yeah, I was like, you can't do that. That's me, because there were people like taking my content. It was a whole ass thing. And now I'm looking back on it. I'm like, what was I doing?
You're a blonde_nerd, blonde nerd 69, blonde nerd 420, blonde nerd.
Like, I should have taken that handle. I think
No.
that handle would have been worth way more today. Damn.
I'm pissed that I have messaged the @Lisa Wallen forever, multiple times. I don't know who has it. It's someone who got Lisa Wallen's Twitter handle and Instagram in 2011, said my first tweet, and that's it. They've never tweeted any other time, and I'm like, you fuckers.
No.
And I looked them up. They're a real estate agent, and so I messaged her and never got back to me. And I'm like, but now I'm just Wisa. Now I'm just Weasel. It's fine.
I love this. I know. I was telling my husband, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be on Weasel's stream. He's like, Weasel?
That's
like,
her real name.
That's her real name. So whenever you meet him, he'll probably be like, oh, hi, Weasel. And so it's going to be a fun joke. No, I hear you, though. People, like, if people don't use their Twitter accounts, it should just go to whoever wants it. You know what I mean? But that's not how it works. It's like you have it once, it's yours forever, which is dumb.
Yeah. It has become the point where it's like, if you look up Wisa Wallen, there's more content of me than Lisa Wallen. Like I've adapted a new name. Never had a nickname until I was 30 when I started streaming. And it's gone to the point where I've done comedy and the host has brought me on stage as Wisa Wallen. I'm like, I'm fucking ending this. Like my name is Lisa, goddammit. When I went to TwitchCon, I wrote Lisa Wallen on my badge. So people be like, what's your name? Weasel Lowlen? Weasel Lowlen? Lisa Allen.
We talked about this, and this is why, friends, branding is important. You never know. That's why, like, I think about my first, AIM username. It was Furby765. And then it was Soccer Freak, FRK.
Mine was Anime Blink Girl 182.
Okay, so like not much has changed for you.
Yeah, no,
like that was still very on brand.
I just paid $300 to go see Blink 182. Nothing has changed. So yeah, I'm still a nerd and I'm still very indoors and listen to shitty music. That will be me forever though. So
God, never change. That's
but I do like blonde nerd because I feel like you have like all the other blonde nerds now have to fight you. Like you have to have a battle royale style if you ever decide to like give up your name, and I want to host it. Just saying. Like
I will be the final boss in this battle royale.
The final boss of blonde nerds.
It will be me standing there atop of the mountain, an RPG in hand.
I will say, I actually do have some questions for you that I did write down on my computer, but this is my computer, so I'm going to pretend they are here anyway, right here.
Okay.
I've always wanted to ask you, because you are more into like horror games. Like that is like your main thing, right?
It's one of my main things, yeah. You might be surprised I haven't played some of the most iconic horror games, but I will hear your question.
Wait, like what?
Like Silent Hill.
You haven't played...
No, and I have a story to this. Okay, so again, Resident Evil, I played when I was 8. Traumatized me, but I was so fascinated by it. There was a hook there, and so I ended up playing and becoming obsessed with it. Silent Hill, okay, that's a game that actually scares me. Silent fucking Hill. I will never be able to play those games without clenching my ass because something about them is just so terrifying. So I had this boy come over. I was still living at my parents' house.
This boy come over.
His name was Andy. And I remember he brought over a Silent Hill game. I think it was Silent Hill 2. And we played in my room. And I remember he had really weird feet. And now whenever I think of Silent Hill, I think of Andy's fucking feet. And then I'm ruined. So I need a new memory of Silent Hill. So have you played Silent Hill?
So I have an interesting story. The first time I ever found out about Twitch is because I was too scared to play Silent Hill, but I thought Pyramid Head was hot and all the art, so I wanted to know.
Hot?
I wanted to know,
what?
Because
What?
Pyramid Head is always caked for some reason. Like, it's always like Pyramid Head is just the person with the pyramid head, but like their body is phenomenal. I'm like, why is he hot? This is so uncomfortable, but I need to know what it is. So I started watching people stream it because I was like, I want to see why Pyramid Head is so hot. And then I learned the lore and I was like, oh, he's not hot at all. This is just fan art.
Oh, do you have a picture of Pyramid Head on your ceiling? So when you lay down in bed every night, you look up and you go, oh, that's a pointy ass fucking
I
head.
have seen some hot male and female Pyramid Head art, and I'm like, I don't think this terrifying mental image should be this sexy. But yeah, the first time I even started getting into like Twitch and YouTube is because I'm like you, I was too scared to play the game. I watched my cousins play it, and I remember having the player's guide. In the player's guide, like the original one, it'd say this game should be turned with the volume high up with the lights off, and I was like, fuck all of that. I'm like 12 years old, traumatized. And so I watched people do let's plays and like playthroughs, and I also watched someone speed run it, which was hilarious. But that was the first time I ever knew about like YouTubers and streamers, because I was like, I'm too fucking scared to play these games. I want to learn it. And I think the lore is fascinating, and I think that now I only watched through Silent Hill 1 and 2. I don't even know if there is other ones, but there's a new Japanese one coming out apparently, but I might. I don't know. I'm a huge puss.
Oh yeah,
But
no. So the Silent Hill remake, Silent Hill 2, yeah, that's coming
Silent
out.
Hill 2.
I was like, that sounds weird. Yeah, definitely gonna be playing that. There's a whole bunch of other games Konami just announced, and that was the whole question for the longest time: is this franchise dead? Is it coming back? What's happening to it? So I'm excited to get back into it, but yeah, I've never been able to play it. So if you ever get a wild hair up your ass and feeling brave, you're Silent 2 Hill. 2 Silent 2 Hills, says Otto Luxer. I will play it with you because I need to play it, but I'm still too scared to play it on PlayStation or PlayStation 2.
We should do a mini series of where we play Silent Hill on my couch and we're just like crying and my cats are trying to comfort us.
That sounds like my best life.
I'm playing Returnal right now, which isn't a super scary game, but it's like you're isolated on a planet and there's some spooky shit that happens, but there's some really weird lore stuff where every time you beat a boss, you like go into your old home and it's in first person and you hear noises and it's like dark as shit and I hate it. And I played it on my Discord and I was like, this is too fucking scary. But I beat the third boss recently and I was like, fuck, I gotta do this off stream. And I was sitting on my couch and I was like holding the controller and my cat just walks up and plops right next to me and she goes, don't worry, I'm here for you. And I was like, you guys don't do this on stream though, just on the couch. They just know that's where Lisa's the most scared. I would 100% do that with you. But that wasn't my question. I want to know, there's a couple questions because I know you're super into Resident Evil, so I always want to know what your favorite Resident Evil game is.
Oh, Resident Evil 2 remake.
Is it really?
Yeah. This is one of those rare occasions when you have a masterpiece, which is the original RE2, and you make it and you modernize it, but it's better than the original, in my humble opinion. I know some people want to fight me for that, but I think RE2 remake was so well done. Granted, it couldn't have existed without the original Resident Evil 2.
And Leon is such a himbo.
I love Leon. He's so awkward, and then something happens in between, RE2 and RE4, and then he's suddenly like, "Oh, I'm bad man on campus." Rah, rah, rah. But yeah, I think RE2
being
remake.
a cop. That's why.
I know, he was like, "Fuck this, I'm out." First day, not so good. Yeah.
I will say the best part about RE2 was the fact that it was just the fucking, who's the Mr. X guy?
Yeah,
he would just like, for me, I'd be like, it's fine, I can handle this, and Mr. X pops out of nowhere and just ruins the whole game for me. I was just like, you know what? This game sucks. It's fine. But my favorite thing about it is that because it's like an updated version of the second, you can see Leon's hair like flying when you're like,
you have a thing for Leon's hair.
I love Leon's hair. It's my favorite thing ever. I was just like, why is his hair so perfectly parted on the middle? I'm just like, it bugs me.
It was the 90s. That's what we did.
I'm screaming down a hallway from Mr. X, and I just see his little strands flowing, and I'm like, oh, this is my comfort. I want to know though, because you are way less. I mean, now I've heard your Silent 2 thing. I feel justified for not playing Silent Hill 2. But I want to know, has there ever been a horror game that you have like quit because you're too scared?
Ooh, okay. So obviously Silent Hill, that like I noped right out of. You know what game I did just play that made me, when I get like legit scared watching a movie or playing a game, my eyes water and they tear up. I don't know. It's a weird reaction I have. What's the evolutionary purpose? No one knows. But I was watching and playing Immortality. So the game that I call it's a game, but it's more like a playable movie. I don't know if you've heard of it.
It's like a visual novel?
No, it's a FMV, so it's full motion video. Full motion video. It's actual actors and people doing their thing, and it's a sort of game. The premise of it is that there is an actress who has gone missing, and so has all of her movies, and you have to watch the movies. And I say movies because there's 3 different movies that take place in this one game, and each clip is maybe 1 to 3 minutes, and you stop, you pause, you push Y over something in a scene. Maybe it's a lamp or a person or an animal, and then that will take you to another movie. Anyway, you have to piece together this story of what happened to her in her films. Anyway, at some point, it takes such a weird, disturbing twist that I almost couldn't play it. My husband was next to me.
Is it kind of like Until Dawn type gameplay?
No, there's no moving, nothing you do as the player except for you push a button to find other movies that correlate with what you're currently watching. It's a really weird idea to explain. It's the sort of thing that you just it's free on Game Pass. So if
it came out this year.
Yeah, it's up for a lot of Game of the Year nominations too. Really well done. Some of the best acting I've ever seen. It's kind of hard to call it a video game, but because I guess you do use a controller to play it, there you go. But it's something great to play with maybe your partner if they don't play games, or something casual, or if you're just looking for a really interesting experience that's you haven't really seen before. So Immortality, in comments, Brian McBrien said Immortality gave me nightmares. It took a twist to the point where I got goosebumps, like literal goosebumps, and that never happens.
Okay, so that might be up my alley though, because I fucking love horror movies a lot. I can't play horror games because I have the reaction time of a stoner. Like, if something jumps out and kills me, I will die. I'm also terrible with guns. Like, I'm only good at Returnal because it has like an auto aim, like bullet hell type system. But like in Resident Evil 4, you're like, man, I got 3 bullets and some rations. Like, it's like you got nothing. So it's
that
like,
survival horror mechanic will get you. Yes.
I can't do survival horror at all, but like something like that would be up my alley because I played Until Dawn and I really like I shouldn't say I really like that. I was like, this is campy teenager shit, but it's also kind of fun. Yeah, I know. But I do like the idea of being interactive with reality. Like I always go on big horror movie binges, and I think that might how long does it take? Well, I don't know, because you quit.
No, I didn't quit. I almost quit. That was the only time I've almost quit. Oh god,
was it worth keep going though?
Yeah. So the problem with Immortality, and this is something that's up for debate, whether or not it makes it a really fantastic game or it's kind of a hindrance. To me, I'm kind of like straddling the line there. It doesn't tell you really what to do or really what you're looking for until you kind of just figure it out. And by the time I figured out the mechanic, I was real close to just stopping the game. I was like, okay, it's interesting, I get it, but I don't care enough to keep going. And then once I figured out what it is you're supposed to do, and when it got real creepy and real meta, I was like, oh, wow. And then I kept playing, and it was totally worth it. I think we played for maybe 5 to 6 hours. But we didn't figure out everything. We didn't figure out all the story until I hopped on Wikipedia and I read the plot synopsis. And then I realized
we'll do that.
Yeah, so we had no, seriously, because we had rolled credits, we had done everything, and then I'm like, this still doesn't make a lot of sense. And then I realized that we had actually missed a lot. And so again, that depends on your play style. But I think it's definitely worth experiencing because it's such a unique game.
It's like those games that have like different paths and different endings, basically.
Yeah, there's no different endings. It's all the same ending, but there's just some hidden content that you might miss if you're not thorough enough. Again, it's a really like hard thing to explain because there's nothing really like it. I will say though, there's a lot of sex, a lot of nudity, and violence. So, I mean, to me, cool, but I know a lot of folks might not be into that.
Maybe we'll stream it, but
don't stream it for sure because you're gonna get some marks against you. But
I don't need to be against TOS. Sometimes my cat will show his like butthole on stream. I'm like, I'm not getting in trouble for this, right?
You need to get one of those little gems. Get him one of those gems for his butt. Have you seen those?
I have. I don't think my cat will like an anal bead, so I'm not gonna do it. I also love Mr. Yasmin says hi to your Magikarp. I love that that's what you notice. I just noticed Leon because I can see his hair part from here. I can just see his stupid hair. Like, it just pisses me off. I'm like, how are you not sweating and greasy? Like, why don't you have baby? What is wrong with you? Like, why is your skin perfect? Like, you should look like shit, sir. You've gone through nothing but trauma.
I
Okay.
sense a lot of sexual tension between you and Leon.
I love him. I don't even care.
I
He's a
think that's what
baby.
it is.
I'm in love with him and his stupid, no thanks, bro. I'm like,
Isn't it
beautiful
so
man.
good? It's so good, and I'm so excited to see how that all translates
Here's
to the
the thing.
remake.
I really love Resident Evil 4. I genuinely love playing the game. There are some parts in it that scare me, like when you're in the like sewers and those invisible bug things. Oh, that scared the fuck out of me.
Novicidors, I think is what they're called. They're
And
assholes.
I can definitely tell that people are like, this is the best one because yeah, it's much more involved on the story and gameplay than it is on the actual horror aspect, which I really love. But I don't know if I could go through another if all the other Resident Evil games are like 2, I will not. I don't know if I'll play them because I was
Ooh.
Sir says my reaction time is good. It is, but I shoot like an idiot, and then I do the whole. I'm like stabbing the air, and I'm like, why hasn't he got cut yet? Like I just learned how to suplex people, and I'm like more than halfway through the game. Like I'm just not good at those games.
Did you try dropping the difficulty down to easy?
I did that on 2 and I still struggled.
Okay, so on 2 you can also, I think it's like $5. You can pay to have rocket launchers and
I was
all
like,
sorts of.
you can pay to have someone play the game for you.
I mean, I will do that for you for
It's
free.
just, sorry guys, you can't see my hands on this stream. It's just you in the background, like just playing the game for me.
My head like pops up from time to time. You give me some water, and then I like go back off
Like
screen.
go away.
I'll play my game. I would love to play through the Resident Evil games. So yeah, when it comes to so Resident Evil 2, you have Resident Evil 0, 1, 2, 3, Code Veronica, and then that's kind of when the traditional old school Resident Evil formula stops. And you have Resident Evil 5, which is co-op. Girl, we could play that game together. I am just saying. Resident Evil 6 also co-op. And then you have 7, which is like really creepy. 7 is more creepy because you're not dealing with zombies. It's still survival horror, but you're dealing with really crazy people. I'll just leave it at
Is that Village?
the village
no,
is
it's
8. So
separate.
7
Yeah.
is yeah. No. 7 is the beginning of the Ethan Winters and the and that's go ahead.
Is that a separate storyline?
Well, how much time do you have? Okay, no. So 7, it all connects. And here's the thing: is none of us know where the hell Capcom is taking this story. Let's be real. None people who know Resident Evil, we don't know where this crazy. This is the new Kingdom Hearts, Lisa. I don't know what the hell is happening, but yes, it is all connected and it all plays in together. But yeah, it's one of the
hair
hillbillies.
parts. Any great hair parts?
Well, the game is in first person, so you can't see
Damn
Ethan
it.
Winters' hair part. But there are some no great hair parts, I'm sorry to say. But no, it's really creepy. But I love that one. Resident Evil 7 is really good. And then you have Village, which is the most recent one. So
okay, we'll have to see. I really love 4. I think I'm probably have at least a few streams left of it. I know I'm streaming it tomorrow night. If you want to tune in on that, you can watch
hell
me
yeah.
get frustrated and get pissed. Like I rage quit at the part in the castle where you have to like turn those things and like enemies are spawning like crazy. I was like, fuck this part.
Oh,
Why
the
is
water
everyone-
room, the water level, the room from hell. Yeah.
I fucking hated that. It was awful.
Oh, so
But-
bad.
But we'll see. You know what though? I'm shocked. We haven't even talked about Yakuza at
Oh
all.
my god. Well,
I
we need the
bought-
entire last hour to talk about that.
I want to know what was your first Yakuza game? Was it 0 or no? You were way before that.
No, you're right. It was 0. So
Oh, it was 0. Okay.
Yeah. So I think what happened is my friend who worked at Sega at the time was like, "Hey, do you want to play Yakuza 0?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." I started playing it. I think I got about 40 hours in. Remember really enjoying it, and then I stopped. Something else came up. Then Judgment came out, and I remember I played Judgment, absolutely loved the shit out of it, and that was in 2019. And I was like, God, this makes me almost want to go back and play Yakuza 0 because I'd never forgotten about it. And then PAX 2020 came. I got very sick. It could have been COVID, but we didn't have testing back then. Who knows? All I know is I was formally diagnosed with bronchitis, and I was on my ass for a few weeks. at that time, I was looking for something kind of upbeaty and fun to play, and I just thought about Yakuza Zero again. And I was like, I haven't played that in a while. Like, let's do that. So I hopped into Yakuza Zero, and in the matter of 2 or 3 months, I played all 7 Yakuza games, like back to back to back.
Oh,
I would
you're
start.
like me, but in a
Oh,
shorter amount of time.
girl, I was obsessed. Like, I remember playing and finishing Yakuza 3, I think, and I booted my PlayStation 3 for this. Or no, maybe they had just come to PlayStation at the time. Anyway, it doesn't matter. At 2 in the morning, I started Yakuza 4 because I couldn't stop. And I didn't have a kid at the time, so I could pull this shit off. Anyway, yeah,
You're
I've
like,
never
go
been
feed
more.
yourself.
Oh man, like I've never been more into a game, and a game has never gripped me by the balls so much as the Yakuza franchises. Like I couldn't stop, and I just blast, and I never got franchise fatigue or anything. I just had to keep playing them all until I finished them. Oh,
I was just so single for so long. I was like, I need a game with hot men that are not
that's
Catboys. And
fair.
they're like, here, here's some haggard criminals that probably smell bad. I'm like, perfect. No, I don't even know what got me into oh yeah, I asked Stream about it because I played right when I first started streaming because I started streaming in April, like literally a month after the pandemic started. And I think I started playing Yakuza Zero in like July. So it was right when I started. And I remember I asked about it because I kept seeing memes of Majima doing his like stupid dance. And I was like, what is this game? I thought Majima was a pirate for one thing. Because I never saw the game. I just saw this guy in his rollerblading suit with an eye patch. And I remember I asked Stream about it. And my stream is so funny because like back then I didn't have a lot of viewers. Like that was before I had a consistent. I mean, I don't even think Tony Venom Death Ninja was watching me until I started Yakuza Zero. And so
that's how I
people,
started watching you.
yeah, right. And then people were always like, "Well, yeah, it's a silly game. You might like it." Those people saying, "You might like it. You might like it," because before then I was just streaming like like Hollow Knight and shit, but I loved anime. Like you'll love it. And then I immediately fell in love.
Oh yeah.
I cried. I don't know if you've ever seen the clip of me ugly crying at the ending of Yakuza Zero, but I was like drunk and high, and I learned that Kiryu goes to prison, and I'm just like disgusting, like full on tears, snot running out of my nose, just like it's
I think I have seen that, and I remember I was like, that's
like,
awesome.
My poor baby goes like, wait, is it anything good ever happened to him? And I'm just like, that game ruined my life. And
Dude.
it is I loved it. And and the thing is like those games are so good to play unspoiled because you don't know what you're getting into. Like I was like, what, there's a mini game where I have to give girls makeovers? What? And
Wasn't
like,
that the best? Can we like that music that plays in the background while you're giving your makeovers
with the most English lyrics ever?
Oh, I want to be a girl.
Oh my god, I hear that in my head every time I like do really good makeup. I'm like, I just hear that song in the background. I'm just like,
I'm gonna do that the next time I do my makeup. Is I'm gonna play that as my get ready song.
Somebody said I'm good girl with drinking up all wines. I'm like, what is this Google Translate lyrics we're listening to right now? I love it because nobody's spoiled. Like a lot of people, I shouldn't say a lot of people, but there's like a weird kink. I call it a kink because it feels like that. There's a weird kink of people like to spoil shit for you. When you specifically ask them not to, they're like, it's gonna get me off if I just tell her the plot. Like,
yeah, it's weird.
People do that with anime. They do it with videos. No one did that with Yakuza. Everyone was just like, because it just showed me like the fans of this franchise. It's the same thing with Metal Gear Solid. It's like the fans of these franchise are so obsessed with it that they just want to watch people experience it for the first time, which goes back to what I was saying about like the Uncharted thing. Is like I used to be like afraid to tell people that I didn't play big gaming franchises. Then I became a streamer, and it's like people are like, oh my god, there's someone out there that hasn't been spoiled by this. Like I'm so like this is all I'm gonna watch, is that like you're craving those first time reactions. And so I had such a positive experience streaming it. It was the most positive experience I had playing video games in front of men ever. That I was like, I want to play through all of them. And I did the same thing. I played through 0 through, and then I went to Kiwami 2, then 3 through 6 on stream, and Judgment. The only ones I haven't played is Lost Judgment yet, for the entirety of the year. And the funniest thing is that I ended Yakuza 6 right when I started Yakuza 0 exactly like a year later. Like it was
Really?
almost the same anniversary.
That's fun.
So I cried like a bitch.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
not
as you
at
do.
540 Lisa, more like 160p Lisa. Let's be honest. Like back then I had no idea how to use any settings in OBS. Everyone's like, you've been streaming at like pixelated quality for like a year. I was like, no. No one told
Dude.
me this. It was
Oh my god.
like
Yakuza is just so so
it's
good. And that's the
yeah.
vicarious thrill of those initial like big moments is why I love watching your stream because I saw you when you were first doing Yakuza 0. I was like, okay, this girl's hilarious. She is so funny. You were just, and people would clip out shit and you would tweet it and you would like your laughing moments or whatever. And I was like, she's so fun to watch. So every night, like, is she streaming? Because again, I walk on the treadmill. I'm like, okay, well, she's streaming.
Is
I'm
she
going to put it on the
streaming?
TV. I'm like, I'm going to watch her. And I remember, I'm trying to think, I think it was from Yakuza 0 to Kiwami. I was really interested in seeing your reaction
It's
because
just me ugly crying
it was
drunk.
just like, you're cute. But dude, Majima's character transformation is just so wild to me. So in Yakuza 0, he's kind of like this almost straight-laced, like, little bitch, right? But then in Kiwami, he's wild. He's Kiru-channing everywhere. I'm like, what happened to you? He's the mad dog Shimano at that point. But you don't really know that if you've started with Yakuza 0 and then you go into number 1, 2, and beyond. It's this wild transformation. I remember being so excited to see what you thought about that. And then when he reunites with a certain someone in Kiwami 2, when he has his little side
Oh God,
story.
I
Girl.
lose my shit. I'm so glad. I don't know if you see that clips in there, but I beat the whole game by pegging. I used the stick and I beat Ryuji, which kind of ruined like the sad moment of that fight because I had the giant stick and I beat him by pegging. And it's like you hit him in the ass and then he drools after you do it. And it's like the grossest, funniest thing ever. And
I'm going to have to watch this like right now.
it is just the worst. It's the worst clip ever, but that's how I beat the boss. No, every game, like obviously to me, like I was like, why did Yakuza 4 exist besides giving us like Akiyama? It's the worst fucking game. I hated it. I was like, this is the story. Rubber bullets? What the fuck, Japan?
Oh, yeah, that was a whole thing. You could tell at that point that I think RGG wanted to branch off and try something new because they have all these different playable characters and this weird new like rubber bullets. Like, how did you tie that story together?
Oh yeah. I also watched the original trailer that they released because like I know like a history of Yakuza is that the promotion was always very poor on the Western end. And I watched, I think Tony Venom showed me the trailer where they promoted it and like these hardballs in Japan, you don't want to fuck with them. And
Really?
I'm like, what the hell is this trailer? It's like these guys are bad, and I mean bad. And it's like they really
I've never
aren't.
seen those. Oh, I need to watch those.
Akiyama just wants to be homeless. I don't know what you're talking, but like the whole promotion of that game made you seem like all 4 main characters of Yakuza 4 were like these criminal bad boys, and like I'll have to, yeah. So someone should post a link so you have to watch it because it makes zero sense. You're like, what even is this game? But
who are these people?
I was obsessed with it was so funny how I got obsessed with them too, because I hate it when all game like no offense to Yakuza until like a dragon, but they combat wise they're all pretty much the same. And same setting, blah blah blah. But like I was so obsessed with the characters and watching how like the environment developed over time that I didn't even give a shit.
Dude, Kamurocho is one of the best characters of Yakuza, right? You just get to watch it grow and expand as the years go on. And that is just such a magical thing about that franchise that I always try. Like, on What's Good Games, I love my co-hosts, but they're just not, like, this is not their kind of game. Obviously, like, you and Yakuza go hand in hand. I could have, like, made that match from the very beginning, But I always try to explain to them, like, it's so good. There's just nothing out there like it, which has this super deep criminal storyline. But then at the same time, you're going to be catching panty thieves. It's this wild mix that strikes this very hard balance, but they do it so well. And it's such a feel-good game. Obviously, there's some very sad moments, but for the most part,
Also 69 viewers right now. Nice.
Ay.
Anyways, well also too, like my favorite anime of all time. I know you're not super into anime, but my favorite anime of all time is called Gintama, and it's It's very like the entire show itself is very goofy. It's very much a comedy, but there is a serious underlining storyline, and you become more attached to the characters because you're so used to them in these like lighthearted settings. Where Yakuza's the opposite, where they're all these hardened like criminals. Kiryu's just trying to desperately escape the Toja clan. They're like, haha, just kidding, bitch, come back here. And then he's like, well, hold on, I gotta go throw some money at an old guy and give a girl a makeover. And so it's like the opposite effect, which I love because it's like you're stuck in these long ass cutscenes, and all of a sudden he's just like, oh, I gotta go beat up a billionaire now and steal his business. And I'm like, fuck yeah, I love that shit. And like, I wish I got more into like, I think Yakuza 3, a lot of people were like, oh yeah, it's outdated because obviously like it's a 2009 game. But for me, it was like my favorite Kiryu one because you see him the happiest you've ever seen him. And even though
Yes.
like it ends obviously really sad and he gets really sad, I was like, oh my God, like the orphanage stuff, like gameplay wise, I hate it. But I'm like, this is the only time you ever get to see him cut onions and wear a Hawaiian shirt. Every other game, he's just suffering. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, leave my poor baby alone.
That poor guy. I mean, and it's so funny because now that we know what Yakuza games are coming down the pipe, like obviously we have the man who changed his name, which is going to be kind of what happens with him during Like a Dragon, and then we have the Like a Dragon 2, where he has this silver like wig on.
Virgil,
Like, boy, baby boy,
Yakuza Virgil over here.
Yakuza Virgil. He can't escape. But you know, I'm happy they're bringing Kiryu back. I like Ichima. I like a Dragon, but I have such a bond with those other characters. And that's because I played those games from start to finish and I couldn't get enough of them. And it's funny, you're mentioning the ending of Yakuza 3. And I'm like, I don't even remember because all the games blend into one. But I do remember catching a shark as Kiryu in Yakuza 3. I was like, this is the best life ever. He's just out there fishing, catching a shark.
I still don't know how I feel about silver-haired Kiryu coming back to the Yakuza because I'm like, I hope this the man that gave up his name. I really just want this guy to live in peace. Like I'm like, it
ain't happening. Poor guy's haunted.
It just hurts. But production-wise, like when I watch those games, like I was never a huge cutscene person ever. Like like except for like obviously like Zelda games and stuff because it's so involved with story, but Yakuza is just so good directionally that I always am immersed in it. And so when I saw that opening scene where he's just sitting down and he's like crisscross and guy walks up and he's like, you got a phone call, you got to escort this guy. I'm like, oh my God, I got to fucking know what this is. But also please let it be like a circus clown and he's like having a good time and there's no crime. Like, please let my man
him a surprise party and it's like party surprise.
Right? Like I am really excited to play Ishin because
oh, me too.
Back to the Gintama thing. So funny thing is that Gintama has like the similar feel of Yakuza, but all the characters are named after like famous Japanese war generals, blah, blah, like figures. And they have the same exact names as Ishin. So it's almost like the Gintama version of it's like the Gintama game. So I'm like really excited to play it. And I got to interview the director of it. And I asked him, I was like, are you a Gintama fan? He goes, yes. And I was like, fuck yeah, you are.
Did you ask him if he's going to unbleep the Spasi?
I actually asked him if I could get a specific uncensored version of the Passionate Manly Bathhouse Battle. And he said to me, he was like, you know, it actually was a struggle reanimating that scene because the graphics are so much better that it was hard to hide anything. So they said they actually struggled like redoing that scene and almost took it out, but he fought to make sure it stayed in.
Oh, thank God. Doing the Lord's work there. Okay, good.
Oh my God. I was like...
Because I stayed away from Ishin for now because I had always had a feeling it would eventually get localized. I figured if it were to come to the States, it would, or to the West, it would be remade because it's a little bit older. But I'm just so happy because I don't know much about this game at all, other than just like the few blurbs I've read. But I want to go into it knowing as little as possible because it's so rare that we get a new Yakuza experience that I can go into and be like, oh my God, I know nothing what's gonna happen. But all I know is get my boy Majima with a little top ponytail.
And he thinks his goofy, like
he's so goofy. I don't know why that's my husband, but he is. I know.
Also, hi Richie. Thank you for joining. That's my friend joining for the first time.
Hello.
I was gonna ask why is my favorite character honestly isn't even Kiru, it's Akiyama.
Oh, I love him too.
And not just because I think he's just it's unfair how hot he made him, but also his voice actor is one of my favorite voice actors of all time. And when he sings Bakami Tai, I can like feel it in my soul. It's like Kiryu's Bakami Tai is all deep, but his Bakami Tai is like butter in the ears. I'm just like, oh, so beautiful. I like started tearing up playing 5 where he's singing it, and then he has to do like the dance thing with Haruka, and I'm like, but I love Majima too. And it's very funny because like I got really obsessed with not Sage. Thank you so much for following. I love Sage so much. It was so funny because I got really into Japanese voice acting when I was into anime. And so every time I would play like the Yakuza games, I'd be like, oh my God, Koichi Yamadera is in this game. Oh, I gotta play his character, blah, blah. So when I went back to watch anime, I noticed every single time I would hear Majima or Kiryu's voice actor. Their voices are so distinct that you cannot hide them in any anime whatsoever. That was like, oh my God, I can't watch this character now without thinking about Majima, which is great. I feel like that's how all voice acting should be. I am not really so much into English voice acting. I'm getting more into it now that I'm playing more games like Resident Evil 4 and like Devil May Cry. What are your thoughts on the latest Village deal? Oh yeah, what are your thoughts on the latest Village DLC?
The latest Village DLC comes from Dark Knight. Yeah, the Winter's expansion. So, the Winter's expansion is the latest Village DLC. And you get a third-person perspective for Ethan in the main campaign.
DLC stands for Devil May Cry. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not know. The latest Devil May I love you so much. Oh my God. I don't know where you pull this shit from, but it's so glorious. It's the best. I love your mind and how it works. Yes, you get a third-person perspective for Ethan. You get some new characters from Mercenaries, and then you get the Shadows of Rose DLC. I have not messed around with third-person perspective. I haven't messed around with whatever. I just fucking the mercenary shit. But the Rose DLC, Shadows of Rose, that is what I did play. I think it's fine. You know, I think it's a good way to tie up the Winter's story. I think if you're interested in Ethan, you should absolutely play it. See what Ethan and his daughter. See what happens between all. Oh wow, lots of daddies in the chat. Daddy.
Oh wait, we got a raid.
Oh,
Sage
daddy
has raided us.
Majima!
161 people here. Sorry to interrupt you guys.
No.
Quick introduction. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my stream. My name is Lisa, or you can call me Wisa. This is my talk show I have every Monday. Used to do it on Aegis channel. Now we're doing it on my channel. I have the beautiful, legendary, amazing Brittney Brombacher from the What's Good Gaming podcast joining us today. We are drinking Elysian Space Us IPA and being an absolute mess right now.
Oh, it's glorious. I'm having such a great time.
Absolutely glorious. And we're talking about Resident Evil, and we're talking about Yakuza. We're talking about every character. You know, here's the thing. When it comes to video game characters, especially when it comes to male characters in video games, you want to know how I'm attracted to them? If they look like they smell bad. That's usually my go-to. Akiyama smells like shit. Absolutely. Like if they look like they smell good, I won't be attracted to them. Akiyama from Yakuza, he's stinky. He wishes he was homeless again. That guy smells like shit. I am in love with him. The stinkier they look, the sexier they are.
Okay. So how did you feel about Shinada from Yakuza 5 then?
Oh, same thing. The guy, he's a porn photographer and a baseball player. That guy smells like shit. Absolutely.
Are you attracted to him? Really? I thought he was just a piece of shit. I was not into him.
That's why I love him. I don't think you realize what kind of men I'm attracting in video games. I was playing Final Fantasy VII Remake, and everyone kept saying, like, oh my God, you're going to think Sephiroth is so hot. And I looked at him and was like, ew, who's this Catboy with no acne or scars on his face? I do not care if he's a war criminal. He looks like he wears cologne, and that is disgusting. Like, I don't know if you knew this. My favorite character in Judgment was Hamura. I thought Hamura...
Fair. Okay.
I thought Hamura, I'm like, that guy smells like a retirement home, and I am obsessed with him.
I've been curious. We need to do a game where we put a whole bunch of characters on screen and decide whether they stink or they smell good. Because Akiyama and Hamura, I would say they look like they would smell good. So
I feel like here Akiyama, I feel like rubs himself in trash every day because he just imagines himself being homeless again. And I think Hamura tries to smell good, but since he's like old and has been smoking cigarettes for 40 years, it's just embedded into his skin. And I'm like, yes.
I bet his breath smells really bad.
See,
Yeah,
this is why Brittney and I like Yakuza games so much, is that we are no longer 20 years old looking at anime Catboys. We want men that have gone through some shit. Like I said, the stinkier, the more acne scars, and the more scruff they have on the face. Give it to me.
Okay,
That's
so
all
how
I
did you
want.
feel about Kuze from Yakuza 0 then? One of the no, not doing
I
it for
love
you?
him. I love him as a person in real life, but in the game, he showed up too much. Like I was just like, come on,
Oh.
man, move on. You know who I really liked in that game? Who's the other guy with the purple suit?
Awano?
Yes, he was my
yeah.
favorite dirty old man. The Japanese Elvis man. What was
They're
his
all
name?
the dirty old men. No, I love them all. Those three they're terrifying. It was Awano, Kuze, and then Shiba, whatever, but I can't remember what his name was. But
Shimano?
no, Shibusawa.
No, not Shimama's the old guy. It's Shiwasawa.
Shibusawa, I think it was. Anyway, those
not
three.
enough to remember. That's who.
No, I'm just saying they terrified me. That said, I would happily invite them back to my house for some fun, but they terrified the shit out of me.
Nishikiyama is you know what? He is an exception. He definitely smells good.
He smells good.
I mean, that guy smells and dresses good, and I'm still in love with him. But I also feel like if him and I like slept together, he would cry after. Like
that's just it. He would cry.
That vibe.
He would absolutely cry. Oh, 100. You would go to the bathroom, and then he'd be out like just like sitting on the edge of your bed, just sobbing.
Yeah, but not even like a cute romantic way. Just in like, oh, here we go again.
Oh yeah, no. It would be awful. It would be absolutely awful. Can you believe when he had all that blood on his hand and he slicked his hair back, and that was like
oh, he thought he was in a My Chemical Romance video. I'm like, you are not this cool, okay?
Oh my god, I can't stand him.
This is the directors trying to give you some edge when really you're just, and which is so funny because did you ever listen to the original Yakuza dub? See, oh my god. Well, you should. There's a whole video I should send you. It's the same thing that we're talking about way earlier about early 2000 and being the pinnacle of edginess, where it was like, what is the most shock value edgy shit we can come out with? And the original Yakuza Viv was like, how many fucks can we put in a PS1 game? Like that's how many like who is that? Who is the guy who runs the hostess club? Starts with a Y. He's like a really important character.
Oh god, what is his name?
Oh, what's his name? Come on, Yakuza people. What's his name?
Help us. I can't keep you track of all these.
Yuya?
Yuya? Yeah.
He's just like, fuck you, Yakuza. Fuck you. And that's just him. And in the game, he's like the sweetest man ever. But my favorite part though, oh my god, I have to show you the dub, is like, there's a part where like Kiryu was with like a bunch of criminals. And I think this is what it is, but the guy was like, Kiryu's like, I suggest you don't piss me off. He goes, I suggest you blow me. And it's just like the worst insults ever. And Mark Hamill voices Majima. Which is their I know, but you have to watch it because it's just the edgiest shit. And I was like, but Nishikiyama says, I forgot what he says. He was like, yeah, 20 years in prison made you a little bitch or something. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. You have taught so many toxic 12-year-old males to act this way towards women. I cannot believe it. No. I want all of those to be sound alerts now on my stream. Anyways, for those who are joining for the first time, I totally didn't even introduce myself. Yes, my name is Lisa. I do stand-up comedy. I love stage more than anything in the entire world. I stream Monday through Thursday. Brittney is my wonderful guest and my future best friend. This is every Monday we do a talk show here, but Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, it's all gameplay and I'm silly and always, this is me all the time, actually. It's so fun. I talk about, like, this was on Evil Genius's channel for the last year and a half, and I was like, finally, no filter. No, this is how every stream has been, and Evil Genius is like, I guess we'll still have the show. So everyone who's following, thank you so much for joining. But no, you guys could ask me forever. Like, I've done this on my stream. You give me any character, I'll tell you all. I have so much, especially Yakuza characters. I don't do this with anyone else. Yakuza characters, I have my personal lore about every single one of them. Like, who was your favorite character in Judgment? I have to know now.
Oh.
So did you play in English or Japanese?
I played in English.
I had Greg Tune on
I
a few
love
episodes.
him.
I had him on a couple episodes ago, actually.
I love him. No, here's the thing is I have the memory of a fish. So let me just like quickly like go through and see all of the characters and who was my favorite. Because I feel like, I love Greg, but Yagami just isn't like, I just didn't click with Yagami that well. I don't know how you felt.
Kaito.
Kaito is great. I really
He was a thick boy with some titties. Obviously, I'm in love with him.
The Kaito Files, that was the DLC, right? That came out for you haven't played Lost Judgment.
I haven't played Lost. I will though.
I will go on record as saying that the Kaito Files DLC I think is better than the entirety of Lost Judgment.
Wow. I might love that then.
Oh man, no, it is really, really good. Like, it's hard to envision an RGG game without all of the silly side quests and all of the other like fun stuff you can do. But in this DLC, a lot of that is cut, and it just gives you such a good story, and it really shines Kaito in a new light, and it is so good.
Is it kind of like a saga-ish?
No, kind of. It's just like a story from start to finish. You know, there's not a lot that really like gets in the way of that, but it's real good. And I would not be upset if RGG kind of takes that formula and does something like spin-offy with it, because it was just like so good.
I really loved Judgment. I think Judgment might be one of my favorite. Actually, it might be my second favorite Yakuza game. It would be like Yakuza 0, 6, and then Judgment. Because Judgment did that thing with every chapter where it was like previously on. It really felt like you were playing like this HBO fucking crime thing. But the one thing I fucking hated, it was like everything about the game was good, and then the side stuff, they were like, we're gonna have this whole girlfriend thing. I'm like, ugh, why? I'm like you, like Yagami for me wasn't a huge clicker, and I'm glad he clicked for everyone. Hamura though,
oh god, Hamura.
You know what it is? It's because Yagami looks like he smells good. That's why.
Yeah, he cares a lot about his hygiene. You can tell he has the crisp white shirt, the leather jacket, the jeans, and the white shoes. You can tell like he showers.
Yeah. I see. I don't like a character that showers, except for Leon. Leon just looks like he showered after getting bleeded on by zombies. Like, I don't get that, man.
I'm just saying, have you updated your IRL dating profile to say, if you look like you smell good, I don't want you?
Yeah, like you just need to look like you smell like shit. And it's funny because I'm allergic to tobacco. So if you smoke cigarettes, like you're not on my radar. But in a video game, oh my God, if you smoke cigarette. I definitely want to play. I played Judgment in Japanese, which I kind of regret. And that's because I'm a huge weeb, but all the English voice acting is incredible. Greg is incredible.
It is.
Kaito's voice actor is incredible. And I'm going to play Lost Judgment in English, but in Lost Judgment, they have one of my favorite Japanese actors play the villain, which is he plays the live action Tatsu in Way of the House Husband, and he's so beautiful. So
I love that.
And I was like, oh my God, okay, well, now it's kind of a pickle. But what's really funny is that Judgment's original actor, the guy who mocapped Yagami, he's that big fucking ex-pop star in Japan.
Right.
What's his name? It's pretty much like the same name. Takuya something. Takayuki. I don't know.
Yagami, it's the same guy.
But what's really funny is Kimura Takuya. Yeah, he's got almost like a similar name, but he was a big pop star. He's like kind of like a Mark Wahlberg-ish, but not a piece of shit. But he did a bunch of anime stuff, and I saw all the anime stuff he did, which is ironic. He did the main character from Redline, and he did Howl in the original Howl's Moving Castle, which are the two movies I watched in English. Out of all the anime I've ever seen, those are like one of the only ones I watched in English. So I was like, I wasn't even connected with him, Ben. So that was very interesting.
Now, isn't the whole thing with the future of the Judgment franchise, and chat, maybe you can help me with this too, is it might not go forward because his agent doesn't want his likeness used or something with PC. There's
Yeah,
something
the
going on.
modding.
Is that it's the modding? Okay, that's what I thought. It's just absolutely wild, but I guess that stuff is taken pretty seriously over in Japan. I'm not entirely sure, but it's kind of crazy to think that, there might be some shit going down.
Yeah, they don't want to, they don't want to mod,
His
Yagami
face.
in some lingerie like they always do
Why
with
not?
Ryushi. I know. We're like, what are you talking
Why
about?
not? That's money. That's
I
money
mean,
you're turning away.
It's the same thing we're talking about Japan and when it comes like Nintendo stuff. It's like their business, like it's like I originally want to be like an ambassador, but it's like because I have tattoos and because like I don't know. I don't even think I'm that edgy. There's just things like I remember when I was like, I want to post this picture, and they would be like, you shouldn't post that picture because Nintendo's like looking at your stuff. And I'm like, what the fuck?
I can
Oh my
confirm
God.
everything you're saying because I too wanted to be a Nintendo ambassador until and I love Nintendo. It's literally my favorite everything when it comes to video games. Yeah, I'm not a good fit for their ambassador program because I too like to drink and swear and talk about raunchy things online.
And
And
talk
that
about
just
which video game characters smell bad. See, this is why.
this is why we can't get sponsored by Nintendo.
This is why we're such good friends. We're like, Ocarina of Time Link definitely smelled like shit. That's why we're obsessed
But he
with
looked
him.
like
We're
Nick
here.
Carter, so I wanted to
He
bang
looked
him.
like Nick
It was
Carter.
great. Nick Carter to Tunic. Let's go.
You know what's really funny? And I'm sure, I think I don't know if we talked about this, but I do like how there's like the rivalries we dealt with younger, like in the early, like in the 90s was like, if you were NSYNC or Backstreet Boys, I remember being like a dividing line of friendships.
Oh, it was. It was real.
Back
Yeah.
I was always BSB.
Oh, absolutely. Same here. 100%. I had an NSYNC CD that I low key played on no one knew about it, but I would march for Backstreet Boys all day, every day.
That was the thing. All the nerds liked all the nerdy hot girls loved Backstreet Boys. All the bitches liked NSYNC. I remember that. Yeah. I got invited when I was in 3rd grade. I got invited to do one of those talent shows where I had to dance to NSYNC, and every girl on that team was so fucking mean to me, and it would traumatize me. And I was like, you know what? I'm going back to Backstreet Boys.
Oh,
and
hell yeah.
So I ended up doing. Jesse, are you pro Backstreet Boys too? Because they were the shit. And now it's like I'm still like, it's so funny. That was what, 30 years, not 30 years ago. I'm not that old.
We're not that old. That was like, damn, girl, damn.
25 years ago, which is still a long time ago. 25 years ago, I was like, I don't like Justin Timberlake. And now 25 years later, I'm like, I still don't like him. I still have this weird thing about
funny?
NSYNC.
Me too. I think of Justin Timberlake and his hair looked like dried top ramen. And I can't get it out of my head. I can't. That's all I can see.
I just want to boil his hair, you know?
I'm gonna boil his hair.
25 years ago, Ash started his Pokemon journey. Jesus Christ.
So we've come a long way. I met the Backstreet Boys. This is my claim to fame. This is my bragging moment. I paid way too much money to meet them and give them all a hug. Maybe like 5 years ago.
Was it Tacoma Dome?
No, it was Vegas. I went to Vegas.
Oh.
And and this is how on brand I was. Is I went to Nick Carter and I stepped on his foot, his beautiful white sneaker, and I had dirty feet. You would love me. I have dirty feet. Then my sneakers were dirty. And I stepped on him and I gave him a hug and I looked down and I left a mark on his shoes. And then I was like, well, this is why I
you branded him.
I did brand him, but I was like, this was my one shot. I'm finally of legal age and then some. Then I just step on his foot. Now he's never gonna look at me again.
In 4th grade, I went to the Backstreet Boys concert. My parents had to take out a fucking loan to get us tickets, which back then was like $40.
Wait, did you go to the Tacoma Dome?
I did.
That's the one I went to also.
I was in 7th row and they ran down my aisle and I was 7 years old and I touched Brian and his sweat got on my hand and I was like, my life is ruined. I'm never washing this hand. And then the next day, Ocarina of Time came out, Link with an earring. There you go. 25 years later, I'm a mess.
Can we talk about that? Is the best hemline. You got to go see Backstreet Boys 7 rows from the front, and then you got to go home and play Okra of Time. How fucking...
Well, what's so funny is like I still have all my old Ticketmaster ticket stubs.
Amazing.
And my parents were like, oh my God, those tickets to get you those like 7th row seats to go see Backstreet Boys were so expensive. I looked at the tickets and it was $85. And I'm like, yes, back in 1996 or 98. This is a lot of money, but now this is like the normal concert
Isn't that
ticket
not
price
even a
ever.
good ticket? Not even that is so wild. Oh my god. But the best parents. I remember we went to the Tacoma Dome concert too, but we stopped at Mayan on the way up to Tacoma. I don't know if you've ever been to that concert or that restaurant off of I-5. I'll never forget that, but we were in the nosebleed section.
That and the $1 Chinese food. That's all I remember off of the I-5. Yeah.
Yeah. What a time to be alive.
What a time to be alive. And it's a lie. I went there. It's $1 per pound. Okay. I was pretty pissed when I went there. It wasn't actually $1. Okay. No, I remember the back in the day. I have talked about this on stream. I do not know how I survived as a preteen because my parents used to drop me off at concerts all the time. I was like 12 years old. They would drop me off at a concert and then come back and pick me up 3 hours later all the time. Local bands, whatever. My fondest memory was 6th grade camp. My mom came and picked me up, took me to the Pop Disaster Tour to go see Blink-182, Jimmy Eat World, and Green Day. I still have the concert program. That's probably worth a lot of money. Somebody dumped beer on my back. I was 11 years old, and I had to be back at 6th grade camp the next day. But since I loved my hoodie so much, I just showed up to 6th grade camp covered in beer.
Like beer? Oh shit!
And someone actually had to have a talk with me. Like they took me into like the camp counselor's office and was like, Lisa, we need to talk about where you were last night. I'm 11 years old. I'm like, oh yeah, someone just spilled beer on me at a concert. It's fine. Oh, I tell people that's how important concerts to me. I skipped 6th grade camp on the night everyone was shedding tears to get beer dumped on me at a Blink-182 concert. Okay.
Dude, and we didn't have cell phones or anything like that back in those days, man.
Oh my god, no. I was like 12 years old having like 16-year-olds come pick me up for shows. My parents would be like, okay, have a good day. Which is funny because now I'm the opposite. I always I never got whatever. I went to alternative school. I was a bad kid, but I never got in trouble with the law. I always came home on time. I just had bad influences. But last year, I briefly moved back home with my parents when I was 31 years old for a couple months before I got my job. And when I would like go out, I would text and be like, hey, I'm not coming home. And my dad would leave me on red. And I'm like, I just want you guys. He was like, why'd you text me? Like it was so late. I was like, I just want to let you guys know I wasn't coming home. He goes, Lisa, you're 31 years old. I don't care. Like I was like, I just want to let you know.
We are told that we need to let someone know where we're going at all times as women. This is like what we've been conditioned to do. And then your parents are like, whatever.
I don't know why. It's like, I don't have to tell you, but I think the result of not being disciplined growing up made me more disciplined when I got older. But my dad always has his locations shared with me because I was traveling a lot, blah, blah, blah. And now he has no idea how to check it. But now when I go on a date, I just think in the back of my head, my dad is watching me right now. Like, really? He's just looking at like Trump memes on Facebook. Like that's just where my head goes to.
See why dating is hard? I can't imagine. I've always said
again, stay married forever. Don't ever become single. It is the worst thing ever.
No, I already said if I ever do become single again, like I'm just gonna give up. I don't have the patience to deal with this fuckery out there in this day and age. I'm just gonna become a hermit. I'm never gonna shower. I'm gonna get like 18 cats and just live in a house.
I will say I have a lot. Oh, yeah, someone who subscribes to me called Groupon Hookers, which for some reason is like my favorite name on Twitch. But there's somebody like I follow I have a lot of Twitter friends from like anime, and a lot of them I follow are like really young, and I'll see them retweet things like women these days, like they don't want anything serious. They just want to go on a date with you and then go hook up with a guy. And in my head, I'm like, I go on a date with someone, then go home, and be like, I want to play Returnal until I go to bed. Like you do not know. You have this idea that women are out here being promiscuous. I'm like, I just want to go home and hang out with my cats and play video games and watch anime and build my gunpla. You are just a waste of my time. Unless you want to come watch me do that, just don't talk to me. Just sit there.
Don't talk. Okay, here's the rules to dating, Lisa. Smell awful. Never
be a
shower.
Criminal.
Be a criminal.
In your 50s, living in Japan.
If you're gonna come to her house, don't touch anything. Just sit there and stare. If you're lucky, she'll feed you some bread and water, but don't interfere with anything in her house. Don't touch anything because she can't share. I think I got it down. I think we can make you.
I'm basically a cat at this point. Really, that's all of it is. I even know how we got on this subject. I
It
just feel
doesn't even
like
matter.
it
It's
doesn't
great.
even matter. We're going back talking about stinky anime men. Now we're like, here's all my mental problems. Anyways,
This is therapy. This is what we call this. This isn't even streaming.
you might get some pickled asparagus.
Dude, don't hate on pickled asparagus. That shit's fucking good.
Well, what's really funny is like I had just gotten back from going on a bunch. Like I did the Arkansas trip and like TwitchCon. It was like a lot of traveling, and I usually always keep my fridge stocked. But I had time to go shopping. It was my birthday, and I went out drinking. And Jesse, who's in the chat, my friend Jill came over, and Jill went through my fridge. She goes, "Lisa, what is all this pickled stuff?" I was like, "Oh yeah, the only veggies I have right now are for making Bloody Marys." That's the only healthy thing I have in my fridge. Not to be alarming to anybody. I have frozen shrimp and pickled asparagus, but I promise I eat vegetables.
I cannot wait to come over to your house. I am so excited.
I promise. I actually have been really into cooking lately. I want to do a cooking stream one day. I would love to do like a cooking Lisa's Lair, or I just have guests.
Ooh.
Actually, it's just Brittney coming over.
Oh, I'm an awful cook, but I'll be there for support. I'll just drink in the background and hand you ingredients.
Yeah, perfect. See, there you go.
There we go.
Everyone who's joining the stream for the first time, this is a future show we have.
We have so many. So we have that, and then we have getting drunk and learning how to French braid. We did talk about that too.
I would love to do that. I feel like, I don't know, were you? I mean, I kind of got vibes that you were kind of a tomboy growing up.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I got that vibe. I can tell by how much of a party person you are now. Because here's the thing, and you probably felt this way. We were robbed of our femininity and our freedom when we were young because we're too busy being like, I'm a cool girl.
I'm a cool girl. Wearing the Jinkos, right? Got
Yeah.
those Jinkos. I would love me some Jinkos. Oh yeah, and it's so wild because you see little girls who are, 10, they look like they're 17. They know how to do fake eyelashes and perfect curl shit. Like when I was that age, I was just a grease ball wearing boys' clothes, like playing games. Like
you need to be wearing electric blue eyeshadow that's all over your fucking
body
forehead,
glitter everywhere, right? And the body glitter.
Look like shit while you're going through puberty. I hate it. I'm just now learning to start doing more stuff. Like I'm starting to learn how to do hair and makeup and all that stuff. But like it is very funny too because I see a lot of girls, like younger girls who know how to do that stuff, and they're always like, I don't want to be friends with women. They're such drama. I'm like, girl, I would have killed to be friends with women at your age. Because as I got older, I was like, oh, wow, emotional friendships with people who don't want to sleep with me are actually really healthy.
Isn't that the most incredible feeling?
And I learned how to do I know how to dress. I have coupons to places. I know how to do my hair. My skin looks better. I'm more attractive than I've ever been in my life. Are you kidding me? When I look at pictures when I was like 16 years old, I'm like, girl, what were you doing? Like
we were being kids. We were being kids is what it was. Like real talk. It was the days before social media, the days before the internet was a whole ass thing, the day before the pressure to look good for all of your internet followers. Like they obviously stressful at times, of course, but man, they were freeing and liberating as fuck. And you don't realize that until now. And you look back on it, you're like, man, I got to go outside and play in the dirt and play games all day, all weekend. Didn't have to do shit. Yeah, and that was my life, and I loved it, and I still try to do that as much as I can.
Like, now we're like, we hate our lives, and I'm just kidding. Your 30s are the best, though, because I feel like your teenage years, you're, like, trying to figure out your identity, and then high school pressures you to do all this shit, and then 20s, you're, like, trying to impress everyone and figure out your future, and then you turn 30, you're like, who cares?
Isn't that the best?
Yeah. I'll just do whatever I want, which is learn how to French braid. So we're going to do that when we hang out.
I literally once a week think about trying to learn how to French braid, but then I get overwhelmed and I don't.
We're going to end up fucking up each other's hair and then post pictures of it is what's going to happen.
It would be glorious.
And it's just so funny how many things I did not learn until I was older because I was like, why was I trying so hard to be friends with dudes when I was younger when they were just playing Halo 2 and making fun of me for playing Zelda? And now that I'm older, I'm like, all the women I've met through the gaming industry and comedy and like Twitch, I'm like, oh my God, you guys are all amazing. Where were you my whole life? Oh yeah, we were all trying to be friends with males for the last 30 years. And then we're like, I don't know how to wash my face properly. So then you start making friends with ladies and you're like, oh my God, my life is so much better. I smell better.
It's interesting. You meet some of your best friends and best people when you're in your 30s for the reasons you mentioned.
Yeah, like you.
Yeah, girl. Shit. Seriously though, because you know what you like, you know what you don't like, and you know what kind of people you want to be around and what kind of people you don't want to be around. And then you can easily pick and choose. And then if someone doesn't fall into that category, you're like, all right, cool, you're a nice person, wish you well, but you're not for me. And you have the power and you feel empowered to do that.
And
And it is the best.
it's weird living, like, you know this because we're in the Northwest. There's this weird thing about passion aggression in the Northwest.
Oh
The
my
Seattle
God.
freeze.
Dude.
I'm too old for that shit. If you have
Me
a problem with me,
too.
just tell me. Like,
I don't
please.
care.
I don't want this awkwardness. I don't want, if you don't want to hang out with me, it's fine. One of my best friendships I ever had was someone who told me the first time I tried to be friends with them, they're like, I don't think our personalities would match. And I was like, oh, and I was pissed at that person. But then I was like, you know what? I appreciated their honesty. And they were right. Because I was like, I'm just glad that you told me this instead of trying to force a friendship that you knew that wouldn't work. And it's like, I like that kind of, I love that kind of honesty with people. And that's how I am now. I'm like, hey, man, if you're upset with me, just tell me. Like, oh, I want to talk about it. I'm like, tell me. Do not wait to push this off. And it's like, that's just the thing is like, my back and my neck hurts every day. I don't have time to carry all your drama. I have video games to play. I have Leon's hair part to stare at. Like, I don't have time to put your drama into my forehead. Okay.
Oh God, no, I love it. And it's so true. You get to this part in your life where like I just write people off very quickly and easily. And it's not because I'm a rude person, but like you said, if we don't vibe, and that's fine. Or if you do something that's totally okay. And you can be honest with people about that. And that is just the glory of being older. You feel empowered to do that. Yeah.
In my 20s, like when I started doing stand-up comedy, I wanted everyone to like me. I wanted everyone to be my friend. I wanted everyone to think I was funny. And I realized it doesn't matter because everyone has different life experiences. And if they don't align with you, same thing with video game reviews, whatever. Not everyone's gonna like the same things. And ever since I realized that, I stopped caring so hard about it. And then I started getting more friends because it's the interesting thing, and you probably know this from being in the industry, is like, I like when people, it's like, what are you getting from me? Are you wanting to be friends with me because I have good connections? Because then I can hook you up. Or are you pretending to be friends with me, hoping that one day I'll give you an opportunity? And that's something I learned in comedy, is that everyone's like friends with each other in comedy. Is it because I might get you a show? Is it because I might hook you up with a headliner? Or is it because you genuinely want to be my friend? You can just be forward with me. I have so many friends that I'm not really close with, but I'm like, hey man, like, do you know anyone who does this, blah blah blah? And that's a good exchange to have. I don't have to fake a friendship with you just for that. And I think that's something that people need to learn. And I think I talked about this with Brian Altano on my show. People were asking, you know, like, what's some advice you would ask for people who want to get in the industry? And he goes, don't be afraid to be honest and ask for help. Instead of just trying to kind of I just gonna like kind of like curveball around the thing that I want and waste your time, right? And waste your time instead.
And I think that's one of the most rewarding things for me as someone who's been doing this for 10, 11 years now. There's no how-to guide for a lot of this new shit we're doing. Being in the video game industry, it's a whole new thing. There's no designated path. And so learn from people, ask for help, because if you're new and you want to know what's the best way to get an early review copy for Resident Evil 4, I can tell you 10 ways to do it and 10 ways to not do it. Because guess what? Like, I've done all of those things, you know, and you just ask for help. It's not a sign of weakness, I guess, is like the ultimate thing to get to. It's a sign of strength, actually, because no one knows everything. And if you pretend like you do, you're going to come across as arrogant and cocky, and then people are going to see right through it. Ain't nobody got time for that bullshit.
Yeah, and also don't waste a friendship with me if you just want to hang out with Brittney. Just hang out with Brittney. But you, just kidding, don't, because she's going to be my friend, actually. Yeah. There you go.
We're calling dibs on each other.
I love this entire stream. This has been 2 hours. I still have so much I want to talk to you about, but I do love it because I don't have a lot of friends in the Washington area, especially lady friends that are big nerds. So I'm really excited for us to actually hang out and be big nerds together, which is going to be great. I think you just froze. Oh no, did you leave me? Don't leave me, Brittney! Just kidding. Can I hang out with both of you? I mean, I don't know if you can hang out with both of us. I mean, we're pretty much a lot together. Brittney left me. Brittney, come back! It's okay. If she's not back in the next 5 minutes, it's totally fine because we are at almost the end of this episode. Oh no! Did she go? Brittney! Brittney! It's okay. It's okay. Too heartfelt. Oh no, I made her cry. It's okay, because we're right at the end of time anyways. If she comes back, I'll make her say goodbye to everybody. If not, it's totally fine. Anyways, to all the great people who have rated, followed, subscribed, I'm sorry if I didn't address you, mainly because we're deep in a conversation. But usually I always say hi to everybody who follows, always say hi to everybody who donates and subs, because I just want to be interactive with anyone who joins my stream. So say, oh, she's FaceTiming me. Hello? Hello, Brittney. Oh no, she's... She tried to FaceTime me. It didn't work. Hold on. Let me see if I can try to get her on. You guys can say bye to her real quick. If not, I'll just say bye to you guys. I'm actually streaming from my office right now too, which I realize when I end stream, I'm going to be the only fucking person here. It's okay. Here, you can say bye to everybody. I don't know if they can hear you because we're at the end of stream anyways.
I know, it was good timing. Goodbye, everyone. If you can hear me, I had so much fun. I was listening to Weasel's lovely, gorgeous voice one second, and the next, it was gone. It disappeared. And then my husband's like, we lost power. Like, oh shit, we lost.
They lost power. I don't know if you heard that, but Brittney lost power.
So here I am calling you, saying I had the best time, and that is a hell of a way to end our stream together.
Oh my God. Well, Brittney, we all had a wonderful time with you. If anyone has anything last they want to say to Brittney before I leave, hide my license. All it says is I'm a blood donor and expires on 10/05/2028. I think I'm okay. Also says I'm 145 pounds. Yeah, in your bra. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love you.
Luckily, there's nothing spooky on here. It just says I live in Washington. Anyways, you guys have any last things you want to say to Brittney before I head out? Anyone? No, they all said you're the greatest and best thing ever.
Oh, did they, or is that just you being very nice?
That would no, they all love you. They all love you. We all love you, Brittney. I'm sorry you lost power, but you lost it at a good time because it is at the end of stream. But let me say goodbye, everybody. Thank you so much for joining the stream today. Thank you for hanging out with Brittney. Here she is right here. I promise it's really her. It was great. You're a wonderful guest. Everyone loves you. I'm glad that we got to be discussing together, and I can't wait to hang out and learn how to French braid.
It's gonna be the best.
If anyone wants to keep watching tomorrow, I am streaming Resident Evil 4. Wednesday, I'm doing Metal Gear Solid 3. Thursday, I'm getting my back tattooed, so we're probably not going to be streaming. But anyways, Sage, everyone from Sage's stream, I hope you come back. It's always chaos. And shout out to Elysian. I don't know if you still have your booze. Elysian for the wonderful sponsorship and giving us the best Space Dust IPA. But even bigger announcement, everyone, this is Retro's last production. Oh, see, here's Leon. Here's Leon. There's Leon in his perfect stupid hair part. We all have to say goodbye to the beautiful Retro. This is the last time he's producing the show. Alejandro, you've been an amazing producer for the last year and a half. I'm going to fuck it up so bad next week. But everyone give Retro your love. He's awesome. But besides that, I hope you come back. I hope you follow on Brittney. Please watch What's Good Gaming podcast. It's so good. Brittney is a wonderful host. Everyone else on the show is wonderful. And you can also watch the episodes I was on. And then besides that, follow BlondeNerd on everything. She has definitely stolen that name from every blonde nerd in the world. So besides that, you have a good night. And I'll see you guys tomorrow and next week with my next guest. So goodbye. Bye. Say bye, Brittney.